In 1988, I gathered all my savings 100 TE to marry a wife, but 3 months later, she ran off with someone else. Because of that, I became the laughingstock of Luvine village. From then on, I left my hometown and traveled across half of China, working as a carpenter while searching for her. Finally, one day, while I was installing furniture in a family's home, I ran into her again, holding her grandson in her arms. My eyes instantly welled up. With a trembling voice, I grabbed her hand and said, "Do you have any idea? I've been searching for you for 30 years. Give me back that 100 TE. After I said that, I closed my eyes and collapsed. When I opened my eyes again, in front of me was a brand new cabinet. This cabinet was the first piece I had made with my own hands after finishing my carpenter apprenticeship. It was also my first completely original attempt. After discarding all the old-fashioned furniture ideas my master had taught me, I was in a daze when I realized I had been reborn. I looked at the cabinet before me. My heart was in turmoil. I had to admit that, when it came to executing and applying mortise and tenon joinery, I had already mastered furniture making and was even more skilled at carving than before. The entire cabinet didn't use a single nail. It was still tight, still as solid as a rock. Even the decorative details on the cabinet doors and edges were impressive. But now, having lived 2 lifetimes, I found it unbearably rustic. Just as I was about to disassemble the mortise and tenon structure to redo it, the dog De Huang burst through the door, his tail wagging frantically. Then, my third sister, Wu Suhua, who was wrapped in a white gauze cloth, pushed the door open and stepped inside. "Third sister, why are you here in this cold weather? Isn't it because I was worried you'd be home alone with nothing to eat? Here, I brought you some braised pork," Suhua said, setting down the basket. Then she got straight to the point. "When the new year comes, you'll be 22. It's time to get married and start a family. If you agree to marry the younger sister of the 2 family, tomorrow I'll bring 100 TE as a betrothal gift to them. To settle this, try to hold the wedding before the Kitchen God Festival. That way, by the new year you won't be so lonely." Hearing that, I firmly said Tu Dain Mai is out of the question. "You don't like her? Then tell me, who do you like?" "I only like Jung Lak Yen, the precious daughter of Secretary Jung, the beloved daughter of the Jung family. Do you know how much betrothal money Secretary Jung is asking for? 1,000 TE, a full 1,000 TE. Even if your third brother-in-law is the village secretary. Our family can't manage it." These words inadvertently revealed. Third brother-in-law Hung Kwang is a man who values loyalty too much. Otherwise, he wouldn't indulge third sister like this. Every few days or half a month, he brings things from home to me. He even has to take care of my betrothal money and wedding arrangements. Little de marriage should be between families of equal status. Given our family's condition, you can't afford to marry Miss Lak Yen. You should be a little more realistic and consider Miss Tu Dain. She's the eldest daughter in the family. She'll definitely know how to take care of others better than young girls like Lak Yen. I still shook my head. In my past life, I listened to third sister and married Tu Dain Mai. As a result, by spring, Tu Dain Mai couldn't stand the hard life at home. Then she ran off with someone else, making me never able to hold my head up in Levine village. So I could only say firmly, "Third sister, in this life I must marry Jung Lak Yen. No one else. You know Jung Lak Yen is beautiful and charming. But Secretary Jung is asking for an astronomical 1,000 TE as betrothal money. Isn't that just to shut us rural folks up? He just wanted to take his precious daughter to the city. To become a city person, you still don't get it? That statement is true." In the end, Jung Lak Yen did marry into the city, now hosting her husband Don Man. 13 years have passed, and besides, Jung Lak Yen was pampered since childhood. How could she be as considerate as Tu Dain Mai? I disagree with that. I studied with Jung Lak Yen for 9 years. She's not weak at all. Moreover, she's very kind. After her husband passed away, she's been shouldering the family alone. Not talented, she manages both housework and everything else. She even raised her only daughter to be successful, and she got into university. She endured hardship come rain or shine. Everyone who mentions her can't stop praising. So I can't agree even if no Tahoa talks until she's hoarse. Finally, my sister left with a parting remark. "If you want to marry Jung Lak Yen, you first need to earn 1,000 TE. Alright, sister 3, come see in 7 days. No Tahoa held back and turned around. 7 days later, if you can get 1,000 TE without stealing or robbing, my sister will guarantee your dignity. She'll also help you marry Jung Lak Yen and bring her home. Then it's settled. Sister 3, take care on your way back. Goodbye." For the next 7 days, I ate and slept right at my workbench. I even transformed the original knockdown cabinet set that looked rustic, making it soft, natural, and elegant from every angle. Then I applied wood oil, making the natural wood grain even more prominent. It even had the original character that later generations of solid antique furniture pursue. Not only that, for tall and short cabinets along with one long cabinet, could be freely combined to create many different styles. Highly adaptable. On the 8th day of the 12th month, Laba Festival, the craftsmen who normally only gather on the 3rd, 6th, and 9th made an exception and all showed up. I loaded the knockdown cabinet set onto the cart one by one, stuffing straw to carefully wrap the corners. Tied it tight with long ropes, then headed straight to the market at Not Cow Ten Town. Not Cow Ten Town is on the outskirts of the city, the largest of its kind. Many city people often visit there, so I chose that place. I also hoped this knockdown cabinet set would catch the eye of wealthy city folks and sell for a good price. On the way, the fully loaded cart kept bouncing on the bumpy road, making my hands go numb. Finally arrived at Cow Ten Town. From afar, people and boats were bustling endlessly. On a dry patch of ground, I set up the knockdown cabinet one by one, arranging them in the most popular style. Then I sat back on the cart and took out dry jujubes from a leather pouch. Not stubbornly set, this knockdown cabinet is very popular in the south. But in the Baektsang area, it's still a novelty. Among the market stretching over a mile today, my knockdown cabinet was the only one. It was unique. Until noon, the cold sunlight rarely felt warm. Only then did an elderly man stop. He reached out and felt the corners for a long time, then patted my shoulder and asked, "How much for this furniture?" "Sir, this is a knockdown cabinet popular in the south. It's very dignified for a son's wedding or a daughter's dowry. Also, this set is the only one of its kind. In the Baektsang area you won't find another. The price is 1,200, including home installation." After hearing that, the old man shrank his neck and walked away. I wasn't discouraged. I sat down and continued chewing dry jujubes. Meanwhile, the pork leg seller next to me couldn't stay calm. "Little brother, at 1,200, forget about today. You won't sell it in 10 or 8 days. It's too expensive. How can ordinary families in Baektsang afford it?" "Brother, goods find the right person." "Hard to say." "That's what I just said." Another middle-aged couple stopped in front of the double-door cabinet. The woman was wearing a very stylish jacket, compared to the gentle voices of other women. Her aura immediately stood out. I noticed this woman's eyes growing brighter. I was already calculating. Finally, the man lit a cigarette. He spoke up, "Little brother, how much are you selling this double-door cabinet for?" I stepped closer. "Brother, I can see you know your goods. Let's not talk price yet. What do you think of the craftsmanship on this cabinet?" The man blew out a puff of smoke, touching the traces of wood scent and dowels. "Really not bad. This kind of craftsmanship takes at least 30 years to master." "Little brother, did your master make this cabinet?" 30 years, that's right. I came back from being reborn 50 years old. Isn't that over 30 years of skill?" I gave a faint smile. "Brother, you really know the trade. This cabinet. It was indeed made by an old craftsman who spent a whole year working on it by hand. There's only one like this in the whole north. I'm not asking much, 1,200 TE. If you buy it and put it in your home, it'll definitely show class." The man then looked at the woman and asked, "Does that include delivery and installation?" "Of course. Full home service, delivered. You drag the cabinet and follow us." "Yes," I replied. I was extremely excited. Hearing this, the enthusiastic elder brother couldn't help feeling satisfied. 1,200 TE was enough to make me pull a heavy cart. I followed the middle-aged couple until we reached the large courtyard of the county office. I was drenched in sweat. My dry hands felt weak from the heat. In one go, I carried the cabinet upstairs. The middle-aged woman handed me a cup of hot water. "Little master, sorry for the trouble." I took the cup of tea. "Thank you, big sister." Installing the cabinet was very simple for me. The main thing was that the homeowner had to clear the spot for the cabinet. Took some effort, and so, I was busy tidying until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Only then did everything settle down. From the middle-aged woman's hand, I received 120 large bills. After finishing the job, I ran my fingers over them, confirming they were real money. Then I thanked profusely and pulled my cart away. On the way back, my heart was filled with joy, but I didn't show it on my face. Until I reached the house at 3rd Lane of the village at First Mouth County. I pulled the cart down the slope. Little guy goes to 3rd sister's house in the lower village of First Mouth County. At the same time, Sister Wu Suhua was also worried at home, because I was determined to marry Yang Lian. 3rd sister said with her mouth to let me figure out how to earn the money myself. But actually, she had already taken this matter to heart. Ever since our parents passed away, in our hometown Levine village, there was only me left like this. Family not started, career not established. If my 3rd sister doesn't manage, who will? Rely on eldest sister and 2nd sister? Eldest sister, every time she comes to my house, she would conveniently steal a bit of grain. That's already considered good. As for 2nd sister, she doesn't have much herself. Her family has many children, basically willing but unable. Counting on 4th sister is better. She's also the village party branch secretary. But he keeps saying I look down on him. No matter how I explain, he won't listen. So I can't rely on him for help either. Sister Wu Suhua worried back and forth. She even borrowed from several of her husband's younger brothers' families. Only managed to borrow 600 TE. Still more than half short. I absolutely cannot, after paying the bride price, not even have money for the wedding ceremony. Just then, there was dog barking outside the door. I was holding 3rd sister's 2nd child. I strode in. walking and calling, "Third sister, third sister." Wu Suhua quickly poked her head out. "Where?" "Put Xiaowen down. Tell him to play by himself." I put Xiaowen down. Still didn't forget to sternly threaten. "If I catch you playing by the river again, I'll beat you every time I see you," Wu Suhua said dismissively. "The river is all frozen now. Don't scare Xiaowen like that." I still glared fiercely at Xiaowen. In the end, Xiaowen died young. It became a permanent pain for third sister's family. This child always loved to play by the river. Now the riverbank is frozen, nothing to worry about. But wait until next spring. The river water rises. The danger level will be incomparable. Really don't know what to say. I could only intimidate Xiaowen while thinking about next spring. Picking up the child to stay at my place for a while. See if I can make up for this regret. After all, third sister truly cares about my matters. So attentive that even I think third sister is a genuine, old-fashioned lady. Can't fake that. "Why are you here?" Wu Suhua turned Xiaowen around and gave him a candy. Only then stopping the child's oncoming tears. I confidently replied. I immediately pulled out 1,200 TE from my pocket, not a single cent missing. Right in front of Sister 3. I have nothing to hide from Sister 3. No Hoa saw a thick stack of cash. She was stunned immediately. Even her voice lowered involuntarily. "Where did you get so much money, little brother? It's not stolen or robbed. I'm giving it all to you. You have to help me marry Jung Lak Yen and bring her home." When asked, No Hoa got even more eager. "I earned this money with my own trade. That cabinet set I made. I brought it to town today and sold it in half a day. The money's right here." "Really, brother? I wouldn't dare take that, but I will." Sister 3. No Hoa turned around emotionally. She clasped her hands toward her hometown, mumbling to herself with a full face. "Oh my God, my little brother has finally made it. May our parents under the Yellow Springs be blessed. Bless him with wealth and prosperity. Let him marry a good wife and have a happy, complete life." Sister 3. "What are you mumbling about?" "Nothing." No Hoa turned back. She counted 20 bills from the thick stack of cash, stuffed them into my hand and said, "Take this money. Secretary Jung only needs 1,000 TE for the bride price anyway. Plus there's the wedding party at the backyard. How could I let you pay for the wedding?" No Hoa said without hesitation, "Even if mom and dad are gone, your 4 sisters are still here." Sister 3. I couldn't help choking up. Stop it, don't you dare cry on me." No Hoa let out a relieved sigh. "Here, take this 1,000 TE. Just like this, who knows if we can get past Secretary Jung's door. With Sister 3 helping, it'll definitely go smoothly." "Don't give me that cold talk." No Hoa finished speaking. Then she took a few caddies of rice from the west room and loaded it onto my shoulder. "I won't keep you here for dinner. You must be exhausted lately. Go home and rest now." As she said that, she suddenly remembered it was the 8th day of the 12th lunar month. She hurried into the kitchen at the southeast corner, used a large lunchbox, filled it to the brim with lava porridge. "Take it home and eat it. Consider it your New Year's meal." "I'm off now, Sister 3. Go on, go on." I placed the rice, noodles, and lava porridge onto the handlebar of my cart. I pulled the cart. Then I left, and Sister 3 No Hoa's gaze snapped back to reality. No Hoa was a bit dazed. Little brother has finally grown up. He earned his first full sum of 1,200 TE. In time, he might even become a big boss. Thinking of this, No Hoa couldn't help straightening her back. She let out a mighty yell, left him there in the village square, and walked off toward the village committee on her own. I sang all the way home. The dog Dai Hong appeared from behind the creaking wooden door. Dai Hong wagged his tail. I opened the gate, stroked Dai Hong's head, poured this box of lava porridge into a pot and heated it up. Then, one man and one dog, we drank that porridge right in front of the house gate. Considered it our New Year's meal. After finishing the porridge, I looked around the yard. I felt the road to happiness was still very long. A happy life isn't just about marrying Jung Lak Yen. I also need to be able to let Jung Lak Yen enjoy that happiness with me. Otherwise, I'd rather she marry the rich guy in the city. At least she'd have 3 years of comfort. So, after settling this marriage matter, the next step is to improve the family conditions a bit. A 3-room main house built with brick and tile. If this were Stone Table Village 10 years ago, it would look grand and spacious, but now red brick and tile roofs are the trend. This brick and tile material isn't good at all. Besides, it'll fade and crumble in no time. The east room serves as my workshop. Never mind the drafts coming from all sides. Plus, the red brick gaps are all filled with yellow mud. Now it's already shaky and about to collapse. Also, I need to build a proper toilet. The kind with a septic tank and flush. This isn't just to please Jung Lak Yen. I can't stand the rural outhouses myself. Mosquito bites in summer. Frozen but in winter. Really not a pleasant experience. In short, there's still a lot to do. Everywhere needs money. Looks like I need to make a few more of those cabinet sets. Save up some more money. But all of this has to happen after I marry Jung Lak Yen. I wonder if Sister 3 and her husband can help me win this match? At the same time, Hung Kwang rode his 28-inch bicycle with his well-groomed wife No Hoa on the back, straight to Secretary Jung's house. His wife had already helped him pay back all the money he borrowed from his younger brothers. Now, the only thing Hung Kwang could do to support his wife was to stand by her and speak up for his brother-in-law. Secretary Jung, that man, he'd met him before. Not an easy person to deal with. Besides, the 1,000 bride price was already set long ago. No one knows if the bride's family will ask for more. But no matter what, I have to take the risk. I must help my brother-in-law get married. As dusk fell, Secretary Jung's house was a row of 5 large rooms built with red bricks and tiled roofs. Lights were blazing bright. The local villagers were all around. When Hung Kwang and his wife arrived, it immediately caused a commotion. Is Secretary Jung home? I'm Hung Kwang, your cousin from Lower District Village. Come in, come in. It's evening now. The door hasn't been closed since early morning. Even so, Hung Kwang and his wife were still very timid, standing outside the door greeting everyone. Only when Secretary Jung came out wearing a cotton jacket did they exchange courtesies and step into the yard toward the main hall. Secretary Jung took an unopened pack of Not Fam My cigarettes from his wife. He opened it himself, lit one for Hung Kwang, then offered a pipe of tobacco and sat down. I'm still used to smoking this. Took a puff of the tobacco pipe, his lips reddened, blowing out a faint cloud of smoke. The next second, Secretary Jung saw No Tu Hoa place 2 packs of Not Fam My on the table. He asked Brother Hung, why are you being so extravagant? Hung Kwang glanced at his wife, his eyebrows raised. He said cheerfully, Brother Jung, my wife and I came today to ask for a happy event. If you, big brother, could agree. From now on, our 2 families will be even closer. Hearing this, Secretary Jung, a shrewd man, immediately guessed the intention. He cut straight to the point and asked, may I ask, Brother Hung, which family are you proposing marriage for? Of course, it's my brother-in-law. Secretary Yang remained silent. My brother-in-law is now a carpenter. He used to be talented. He is also diligent and healthy. Secretary Yang can see all of this clearly. Unfortunately, before he could finish speaking, Secretary Yang interrupted him. Totally reasonable, Brother Hung, surely you already know how firm old Yang's words are. Lak Yen is my most beloved youngest daughter. She also graduated high school. She is beautiful too. She is a girl. It's not unreasonable for her to marry into a city family for a better life. Hung Kwang, with a gloomy face and choked voice, said, not unreasonable, not unreasonable. Then he took out 1,000 yuan wrapped in red paper. He placed it on the table. This is the 1,000 yuan that Secretary Yang demanded. My brother-in-law earned this money himself. The money hadn't even warmed his hands yet. He had already helped me and Sister Ba come to propose. At this moment, behind the door of the west room, the girl with 2 pigtails was hiding. It was the famous Yang Lak Yen. She heard that the person coming to propose was me. Yang Lak Yen had some impression of me in her heart. I gave her a sense of security and reliability. Moreover, she knew that this 1,000 yuan betrothal gift was all earned by me. She couldn't help but look at me with different eyes. However, Secretary Yang was not so easily convinced. In his opinion, this 1,000 yuan was definitely collected by Hung Kwang's family, deliberately saying it was earned by me to matchmake for the children. So he spoke up, I know your brother-in-law. He is honest and also lovable, but he doesn't have a city household registration. Let's put ourselves in each other's shoes. If my daughter marries him, she would still face the soil with her back to the sky. She can't leave these fields. Therefore, this matter, Brother Hung. I Old Yang cannot agree. After saying that, Secretary Yang immediately stood up. Casually he picked up 2 packs of cigarettes and put them into Hung Kwang's hands. He said this matter is absolutely not acceptable. Leaving Secretary Yang's house, Hung Kwang and Sister Ba conveniently stopped by the old house on the way. Amid the greeting sounds of Dai Hong, they went straight into the east room. Thus, I was still under the lamp using an ink line to mark, meticulously without any mistake. Hung Kwang sighed, as if the result of the proposal was plainly written on his face. I was about to go get a drink, but Sister Ba beat me to it. So Sister Ba opened the cigarette case. I felt embarrassed, knowing that I should have had more matchmakers go to propose. I've caused Sister Ba and her husband to lose face. A puff of smoke, what do I have to be ashamed of? I need the 1,000 yuan that you earned. Back straight, it doesn't need to be that straight. But the problem is that Old Yang fundamentally doesn't just want money. Moreover, what he said about putting ourselves in others' shoes, I couldn't refute that either. I nodded and said, he's telling the truth, I certainly can't argue with that. It's okay, Sister Ba. Hung Kwang gave a word of advice. I heard someone from the city came to propose. Secretary Duong accepted their gifts. Is that so? I'm afraid of that. Before he finished speaking, I cut him off. Can Sister Ba inquire about this person? I guess this person has some issues at least. Maybe they have some hidden illness. Hung Kwang really didn't mean it that way. Just thought that I, because of Duong Lak Yen, wanted to make others look bad. But she still spoke first to stop me. I'll ask around. Help you ask. Right, Sister Ba. Help me ask which family wants furniture made. I'll take the contract for both labor and materials. 1,200 TE per set. And you have to help me ask, okay? I stood up. Then you two go back early. It's getting dark. I won't keep you. On the way back, Hung Kwang silently pedaled far ahead, then suddenly said one sentence. Wife, do you feel it too? Chowda seems to have become a different person. He doesn't care about buying flowers at all. With a bored mouth, she said no. He's still the same, not listening. Why doesn't he listen? He keeps talking about marrying Duong Lak Yen. It's really a headache. If he listened to you and married the younger sister of the two family, they'd be well matched. Later he would suffer less. Wife, that eldest daughter of the two family. I heard she has unclear relations with several men. Just don't know if it's true or not. Anyway, just ask and we'll know, can't hide it. Alright, you help Chow to ask first. About the background of that family in the city. So he gives up this idea. Hung Kwang only said that much. But in his heart, he still felt that the person he had just spoken with was not speaking to him. But in his heart, he still felt that the person he had just spoken with does not hide a hot-headed, impulsive 20-year-old boy, but hides a deeply experienced old man like that old cabinet. The 9th day of the 12th lunar month, the wind is biting cold. I got up early to cook bean porridge. Added some dried meat, along with washing the salt in the vat, stew it. The leftover breakfast, pour it for Dai Hong. Big Yellow was eating happily too. Then I put on my work clothes lightly. But I only brought fur gloves and soundproof cotton, because today I had to open up the wood face to fit all the sides and horizontal shelves of the cabinet first. While at it, remove the plywood panels. Probably busy the whole morning. So, when someone called me at the door after 9, I didn't hear a thing. Duong Lak Yen realized she had worried for nothing. Before coming, she was even afraid I would catch her. She even prepared a few excuses to back out. For example, stopping by on the way to ask for a drink of water. Or that your dog Big Yellow is really cute. Really cute. Really cute. Really cute. Really cute. Or that your dog Big Yellow is really cute. Your family's soil grows really well. In the end, she didn't use any of them. Until the power in the house suddenly came back. This caused her figure, which was peeking into the yard, to immediately appear in my line of sight. Who's there? I called out vaguely. I just saw a flicker of light out of the corner of my eye. I didn't expect it was actually a real person. And Big Yellow didn't even bark. Who would have thought someone actually answered? Me? How could I not recognize an old classmate? I stuck my head out. Only then did I realize I was half naked. Really bad manners. I meant to put on a long gown. But there wasn't a single shirt on the couch in the living room. Duong Lak Yen had no idea either. At home, it was normal. Plenty of men went around shirtless like that. After all, it's just the countryside. She'd never blushed before. But today, her cheeks, which were never hot, suddenly turned bright red. And burned. I hurried into the living room. Found a work shirt that had been sold for 10 cents. There were even 2 holes in the chest. But it's better than nothing, right? I was about to pull Duong Lak Yen inside. Who knew she'd sneak her hand behind her back and feel her way into the east room. So I hurriedly ran into the east room. She tidied up the axe, saw, and plane. No carpenter's tools anywhere else. Not to hurt her. Unexpectedly, Duong Lak Yen just came in. She was especially interested in the mortise and tenon joints I cut. She found them particularly fascinating. This is exactly my specialty. You often see the magic of mortise and tenon structures. It resonates with the ancient scientific culture of carpentry. The two of them couldn't help themselves. They regained quite a bit of that old classmate feeling. Just now, did you really recognize me? To be honest, I really didn't notice. But then I thought about it. The beautiful woman within 10 miles in all directions. Other than my friend Duong Lak Yen. There's no one else who talks in that slow, drawling way. Duong Lak Yen pouted. So, I found that the room was naturally empty. Sister's question hit the mark. What are you planning to do? I'm building a few combination cabinets. Right now, this style is popular in the South. Then she casually picked up a worn-out magazine. On it were all the blueprints of combination cabinets and combination sofas. Duong Lak Yen looked at it and, tilting her head, asked me. So that means that 1,000 T betrothal gift was really earned by you. Of course, not a single cent is fake. Let heaven strike me down then. Duong Lak Yen quickly interrupted. Although she didn't directly cover my mouth, still it stirred something in her heart. Girls of this era. Who had ever heard such sweet words before? Duong Lak Yen immediately felt that coming here today, especially changing into this white outfit first, was totally worth it. After that, the two of us talked about schoolmates. We chatted until nearly mealtime. Only then did Duong Lak Yen reluctantly leave. As soon as she got home, Duong Lak Yen helped her mother carry the bowls of rice, set them on the 8 immortals table in the main room, then got straight to the point. Father, I want to marry Chow Yuan. That one sentence sent Secretary Duong into a rage. What the hell are you thinking? How can you decide something like that on your own? Duong Lak Yen said without backing down. I went to see him. I believe that 1,000 T betrothal gift. He earned it with his own hands. So he has the ability to give me a good life. As for that guy from the city, the moment I look at him, I feel uncomfortable. There's something clingy about him. What kind of love potion did that high school kid give you? You went to see him this morning, didn't you? That's right, we've been classmates since elementary school. We talked a lot. Secretary Duong turned to his wife, who was bringing over the food, and said, "Aren't you going to control your daughter?" Secretary Duong's wife, Lu He, said calmly, "Control her? How can I control her? Her legs are on her own body. Can I keep her locked up? Do you still think it's like our time?" Secretary Duong stomped his foot angrily and scolded. "Why bring this up in front of the kids?" Lu He said regretfully, "I'm open and above board, what's there to hide? Unlike some people who sneak around, always doing shady things." This time, even Duong Lak Yen didn't understand. It was just her parents arguing. She had heard these words many times before. Each day, one winner and one loser. Different from yesterday. Today, as soon as there was movement outside, I noticed that Duong Lak Yen had arrived. So I took out the wood carving I had been whittling, handed it to Duong Lak Yen and said, "I couldn't sleep last night, so I carved this once, based on your likeness. It's just not as beautiful as the real you." The real meaning was that I had been thinking of her all night. Isn't that even more touching than saying it outright? Anyway, Duong Lak Yen looked at it. Every delicate, gold-inlaid stroke of the carving. She couldn't calm down inside. After a long while, she finally spoke. "Your carving is very beautiful." After saying that, she disappeared and left. When the emotions of young people who have cried together can no longer be controlled, even if they only meet occasionally, even though they had just met this morning. In their minds, a feeling called longing was also rising wildly, unable to be suppressed. My days weren't long enough for missing her. Every second felt like it needed to split in two to get everything done. Luckily, I finished 3 sets of cabinets in one go. Then I spread out the overall workload across different tools. I set up an assembly line mass production process. It was pretty efficient. It was pretty efficient when I worked on the first of the 3 cabinet sets. I finished the first set of cabinets. Took me 3 months. For these 3 sets, I'll push to finish them in 4 months and sell them. Because if I'm not mistaken, in 5 months, there'll be a new round of inflation. The prices of grain, cooking oil, and household appliances will skyrocket. I plan to stock up on enough wood, steel, red trim, all sorts of stuff, and 10 yards of fabric before that. Busy time always flies by. Before I knew it, the chicken feast day arrived. I brought a lunchbox packed half full. There was plenty of fatty meat and pork inside. The moment I saw it, I couldn't help but start drooling. It had been ages since I'd smelled meat. "Go ahead and eat," Yang Lian, along with 2 pieces of pork rind. 1 piece of pork rind, a few pieces 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 of pork rind. There was plenty of fatty meat and pork inside. The moment I saw it, I couldn't help but start drooling. It had been ages since I'd smelled meat. "Go ahead and eat," Yang Lian, with 2 pieces of pork rind, someone said. She propped her chin in both hands, leaning on the big table. Big Yellow was in the yard. He clearly caught the scent of meat from here too. He kept yanking on his chain, charging forward like crazy. But this time, I heard him barking wildly. "This dish was made by my future wife's own hands. Don't even think about it, Big Yellow. Nobody else gets to eat it. I'm keeping it all for myself." And I felt it was totally worth it. I quickly finished the whole packed lunchbox. I ate so much my mouth was greasy, and I hadn't even wiped it yet. Then Yang Lian, like a magician, pulled out 2 roasted sweet potatoes from inside her jacket. But her slender fingers weren't even hot. In just a few moves, she peeled the roasted sweet potatoes, revealing the golden, fragrant, steaming sweet potato flesh inside. "Here, for you. I'm not hungry. I didn't put any pork rind in mine. I put a strange jacket on her. Stepping into the world, where the soul of folk songs is warm. Amid the golden roasted sweet potatoes, fragrant and rich inside. "Hey, take it, I'm not hungry. You eat, I'll go ahead quickly." Jung Lak Yen was holding it in her hand at that moment. "Isn't this what you wanted? I told you. I had nothing in my suitcase about those silent things." Then I heard the cries of street vendors echoing from the yard. "The cabinet is finishing other things. Can be customized. Adjust it to stop like a correction." The skin of the roasted sweet potato had gone cold. As the lunar 12th month entered its first days, the street vendors roaming all the streets became more numerous. I was a carpenter in the eastern house and constantly heard all kinds of vendor cries echoing endlessly. There were those selling tofu, those selling eggs, and also peddlers with shoulder poles, shaking their legs as they went far and near. However, ever since I ate the dish Jung Lak Yen cooked with her own hands, I hadn't heard Lak Yen's voice for 2 consecutive days. Just as I was getting anxious, another woman came uninvited. This woman, apart from being self-satisfied, had a slightly larger build, a slightly bigger face, a slightly thicker neck, slightly darker skin, slightly fatter legs, slightly plumper hands with no other flaws, plus a somewhat harsh expression, and a miserly, oily nature truly making it hard for anyone to like her. The one who came was none other than the relative who had lived with me for 3 months there before. That Miss Tu Dain Mai, over 30 years had passed, and the impression of Tu Dain Mai in my memory had long faded. But as soon as she opened her mouth, that tone of 3 parts indifference and 7 parts sarcasm stabbed straight into my heart like a knife. Haha, you're still thinking about the Golden Branch and Jade Leaf young lady of the Jung family, aren't you? Jung Lak Yen, the beauty steeped from 108, right? I advise you, man, you should be a little more realistic. Before looking for a partner, look in the mirror and see who you are. The ancients said, marry a virtuous wife. Only if you're desperate do you need beauty. Jung Lak Yen is not right for you. Because Sister Ba had previously asked someone to act as a matchmaker with my father. I won't be polite anymore. I don't mind your being poor. I'm very happy. Willing to go through hard times with you. After all, only by sharing hardships can bitter end and sweet come. Tell me, isn't that right? I immediately didn't understand anything. Since when did Tu Dain Mai change her miserly, oily personality? So the sun rises from the west now. Not right. Although the sun doesn't rise from the west, the sky is still overcast. Actually, what I didn't know was the news that you had brought 1,000 TE to Secretary Jung's house to propose had already spread everywhere. As soon as Tu Dain Mai heard that I could produce 1,000 TE, regardless of whether it was my own money or not, it wasn't a small amount of money either. After it was done, she thought it over and decided it was too cheap. A small place like Baktang County of course can't compare with the phones, refrigerators, air conditioners of the big cities. Third, ridiculous, this doesn't even count as being cold to her. So, Tu Dain Mai then came on her own without being invited. I don't care what reason Tu Dain Mai came for. After all, I've lived 2 lifetimes. I can't fall into the same hole twice. Get out of here. I can't stand the sight of you. That's when Dain Mai got all bristly. Hands on her hips. As fierce as a she-devil. Oh, you're so clever, aren't you? It was just one lousy smile. You really think Secretary Jung likes you? With this kind of money, you're still dreaming of marrying Jung Lak Yen? This girl here ain't scared, I'll tell you straight. When you can't get a taste of that swan Jung Lak Yen and come crawling back to me, it won't be a shared life anymore. I wasn't soft either. I put on gloves and shoved her out. Don't worry, I'd rather stay single for life than come looking for you. At the same time, inside Secretary Jung's 5-room red tile house, Jung Lak Yen was sitting on the Han Dui bed. Her own father had locked her up. She'd been worried sick these past 2 days. She couldn't go. What do I eat? What do I wear? Is he cold? Is he hungry? Oh, I'm worried to death. I don't think Jung Lak Yen has realized it yet. Her maiden heart was already full of anxiety. A shout came from the backyard. Someone was home. Jung Lak Yen quickly got up from the bed. She pounded hard on the bedroom door. Who's there? What's all that yelling? It's your mother, isn't it? What answered her was the cold voice of Lu Hu. Hey, Mom, why won't you help me? Jung Lak Yen said frantically, you usually go against Dad. I've always taken your side. Have you forgotten? You like that boy that much? Of course. We've been classmates for 9 years. We know each other inside out. Didn't you used to say the same thing? Back then, you wanted to marry a like-minded classmate. If it hadn't been for someone cutting in, Dad wouldn't have had a chance to marry you. You told me I had to fight my way into the city. Escape this godforsaken countryside. Why won't you listen? You sure as hell won't marry someone with nothing. That city boy with the spoiled look. One glance and I can't stand him. Lu Hu then asked another question. How do you know he's a spoiled brat? If you don't know, don't toy with him. Jung Lak Yen said slowly. At first I wasn't sure he was a spoiled brat. But after I saw that young man's vigorous spirit, I was completely certain. That city guy's definitely got something wrong with him. Lu Hu quickly pressed her ear to the door. How did you get to see that young man's vigorous spirit? What's really going on between you and that boy from our family? Oh, Mom, what are you thinking? Jung Lak Yen explained. In the dead of winter, he's not studying or writing anything, just sitting at home making furniture. If it were that city guy, would he be able to do that? Lu Hu said, that city family has good conditions. No more suffering like that. Mom, can you really say that? Alright, just stay here and be good. Wait until your father gets back and we'll talk. Actually, news has been coming in all day. They say the suitor in the city is sick, and he's always on medication. Secretary Jung didn't see it firsthand. But that's why the family went to check. It's true, can't be faked. Even the old lady couldn't be honest. By the next evening, after a whole day of weather, the sun peeked out again. But the moment it appeared, it was already dusk. Still, it painted a sky full of sunset glow. Secretary Jung returned in a rage. Behind him, the bumbling matchmaker came chasing after. Secretary Jung, I really didn't know about this. You have to believe me. Oh heavens, this debt is going to kill me. What am I supposed to do? Secretary Jung didn't bother with these messy affairs. He backed up his wife. He brought out all the gifts and betrothal money that had been given initially. He personally wrote a receipt and made Man Dai Trui sign and put his fingerprint on it. Even when calling off the engagement, Secretary Jung wasn't used to these details. It was clear that his years as secretary in the neighboring villages were certainly not wasted. Often, when Secretary Jung's name came up, it was even more useful than the commune chief or town head. Man Dai Trui staggered away carrying the gifts. Jung Lak Yen, who was locked up, was more scared than anyone else. Let me out first. Secretary Jung waved his hand, and his wife opened the door for their youngest daughter. Unexpectedly, as soon as Jung Lak Yen was free, she hurriedly ran outside. Stop! Secretary Jung barked at her. It's pitch black like this, where do you think you're going? You young people have no fear, you're too bold in dangerous places. I don't know what's gotten into you, just stay home. Jung Lak Yen pulled back the foot she just stepped out with. She turned around with a fawning look. It was exactly the sweet, obedient expression. That made Mr. Jung, despite being furious, suddenly burst out laughing. But a father's instinct made him think deeper. The Jung family in the city had a suitor come to propose, and word had already spread. If this gets out, the family's reputation will surely suffer. Will the No Chow Vien family still come to propose? If they do, how will they go about it? The key thing is that Secretary Jung hopes Wu Sua's third day could be like last time. Just need 2 cartons of cigarettes and 1,000 TE in bride price. That would be smooth sailing. The secretary's wife, Lu He, understood his thoughts. She smiled bitterly. Having regrets now? Can't turn back anymore, huh? Too bad there's no regret medicine in this world. Go. Just hearing your tone makes me angry. Secretary Yang pushed his wife outside. He took out a cigarette and looked for a lighter. As soon as the cigarette was lit, he heard his wife calling from outside. Hey, Mr. Yang, come out quickly, come out quickly. What are you yelling about? Calling so noisily in the dead of night. Secretary Yang, though displeased, still stood up and went outside. As soon as he reached the main gate, Secretary Yang's old face lit up, immediately ready. His steps quickened, and he hurried forward to greet. Oh, welcome, Brother Xiong. Please come in quickly. This attitude was completely different from last time. But this time, Xiong Gang didn't just bring 2 cartons of cigarettes. He also brought 2 bottles of liquor, 2 pork hocks, and 2 large chickens weighing a catty each. This truly exceeded Secretary Yang's expectations. As soon as Xiong Gang saw old Yang's attitude, he knew that listening to his wife this time was the right move. The 4 people from both sides, deferring to each other, stepped into the courtyard. Yang Luyen also came out from the living room into the courtyard. She proactively called out, third sister, and Secretary Yang waved his hand. Luyen, hurry and brew some tea. After brewing the tea, the person who was happy and in good spirits was referring to Secretary Yang at this moment. After the previous storms, he now particularly valued this future daughter-in-law extremely. Moreover, the Wu family truly knows how to handle things. Everything inside and out is thorough. Truly sensible and agreeable people. Actually, after all these years in his position, did Secretary Yang really lack those 2 pork hocks and 2 fish? After all, it's all about face. It's the so-called, everyone carries the bridal sedan chair. This time, everyone chatted very happily. Drinking jasmine tea, Secretary Yang thumped his chest and guaranteed, we'll soon welcome the daughter-in-law. Let her become the pride of the whole village, and then receive the full 1,000 TE bride price. The ceremonial procedure, pork hocks and fish are partially returned. This is the local village custom. Hearing this, Xiong Gang and Wu Suhua thought this trip was as good as done. Unexpectedly, Secretary Yang brought it up on his own and asked, Brother Hung, when do you think these 2 kids should get married? Hung Kwang heard that and first gave a chuckle. Brother Duong, if you say 1, I won't say 2. If it can be done, it must be done. And if it can't be done, we'll make it happen. Secretary Duong said calmly, I see. Let's seize the good days before Tet and get it done early. Besides, I'm not getting any younger. In other families, they'd already be holding a grandchild. Dad, this time it was Duong Lak Yen's turn to refuse. Everything was happening too fast, not allowing her a chance to catch her breath. Hung Kwang took 1 step back to take 2 forward, saying, there aren't many days left before Tet. If we rush the arrangements, wouldn't that shortchange the bride? Before Secretary Duong could answer, Duong Lak Yen was already shaking her head like a drum. Her 2 braids swung along, even slapping her own face. Madame Tahoa burst out laughing, finding this sister-in-law to be adorably silly. Secretary Duong waved his hand and said, no shortchanging, no shortchanging. The dowry at home has been prepared for a long time. Now we just need to buy the 3 major items and get a few new outfits. For the small house, we'll decorate the wedding room, make a new bed, and so on. If there's any more help needed, just say so. Hearing old Duong talk like this, Hung Kwang naturally couldn't back down. Brother Duong, your words are enough. My younger brother's side will take care of it. If it's not done well, Brother Duong, you can hold me accountable. His words hit the mark. The 2 families, now in-laws, sat down for a few drinks. Old Duong's family actually hadn't had dinner yet. Secretary Duong also urged his wife to prepare. But Hung Kwang and No Tahoa said they couldn't stay for this meal. They might be polite and insist, but we can't be clueless. Leaving Secretary Duong's house, the the couple went as usual to their younger brother's place. A big happy event like this couldn't be kept from the younger brother. So from a distance, Hung Kwang called out, little brother, until he saw No Chow Veen holding a bowl of lard porridge. Eating as he came out, they happily said, little brother, you're getting married soon. No Chow Veen held the bowl steady. Porridge was still stuck on his lips, not yet wiped off. Uncle Duong said that side has agreed. Hung Kwang waited for his wife to get off the bike, then he got off. Just as he guessed, that city guy was indeed a weakling leaning on others. That guy made Uncle Duong furious. Your brother and your sister Ba then pressed the advantage. The moment they touched, it was like, tui. Madame Tahoa quickly said, brother, you thought they were fighting? That's called instant consensus. Chow Veen saw the goat legs and big fish that Sister Ba was carrying. He understood perfectly well. No wonder Sister Ba and brother-in-law were the most tactful. Uncle Duong must have felt very proud. With such joy, how could he not agree? Hung Kwang saw the bowl of lard porridge Chow Veen was drinking. He couldn't help licking his lips. Besides, your brother and your sister Ba haven't eaten yet. What a coincidence. Tonight I just finished cooking and there's more than half a pot left. Perfect timing, we can drink and talk while we check on how your wedding preparations are going. No Tahoa used her foot to dismantle the large piece from the main house's eaves. But feeling it wasn't safe at night, she decided to just carry it inside. She placed it in the unoccupied east room, then reminded Chow Veen not to sleep too deeply at night, lest a thief come to the wrong alley and you wouldn't even know. I know, sister. She turned back and asked brother-in-law Hung Kwang, what did you just say? Lak Yen plans to go back to her own home before the Lunar New Year. Hung Kwang confirmed, that was also Secretary Jung's idea. Do you think you should wait until you've earned a bit more money before bringing Lak Yen home? No Tahoa brought over 2 bowls of congee she had just bought. She handed one to her husband, saying that a couple lives together for the long haul. Moving into the husband's home is sooner or later. Chow Veen, you don't need to be so hung up on formalities. And don't feel guilty toward her either. No wonder Sister Ba always sticks up for her younger brother. Afraid that Chow Veen's wife, before even moving into his home, would already have him wrapped around her finger. The 3 of them drank wine while discussing the wedding preparations. Actually, most of the time, it was Sister No Tahoa who did the talking, while brother-in-law Hung Kwang was firm, since most matters required him to step forward and deal with them. The only thing Chow Veen needed to do himself was to build a wedding bed. The beautiful bride walks into the house. You can't let the bride sleep on an old bed. So no matter what, this bed has to be new. Conveniently, this was Chow Veen's trade. Instead of spending money to buy one, better to build it himself. After all, back in the village, everything is scarce. Only timber isn't scarce, it's just that time is a bit tight. He couldn't take his time and produce a refined piece. Chow Veen didn't mind, clapping his hands and said, don't worry, even if I have to skip meals and sleep, I'll make this beautiful and satisfying. Hung Kwang gave a knowing smile that men share. When No Tahoa scolded him, saying outright that he was spoiling the young men. By the time the 3 of them had finished discussing all the big and small matters, it was almost 9 o'clock. No Tahoa stood up and hurriedly left. As she walked, she muttered, Xiao Wen must have fallen asleep at Mom's place by now. I wonder if that kid has been fussy. After the sister and her husband had left, Chow Veen was still excited, tossing and turning, unable to sleep in the west room. He took out a piece of wood, not even needing to light a lamp. Chow Veen could still casually carve Lak Yen's likeness. This girl was deeply engraved in his heart. Suddenly, a soft sound came from the yard, as if something had fallen to the ground. This is nothing to be surprised about. Rural households have stuff everywhere. A little noise is completely normal. If you got up to check every time you heard a noise, you wouldn't get any sleep that night, but it happened very quickly. Chow Yuan realized this time was different. De Huang's barking had stopped. Chow Yuan quickly put down the piece of wood, but he still held the carving knife tightly, peering through the crack in the living room door. Under the bright moonlight, a figure was using a piece of paper to open the door to the east room. This damn thief, his whole room was full of precious model puzzles. He was really messed up by this guy, not only unrepentant but also ruining his work. Immediately, he yelled loudly, "Who's there?" and then charged like a storm, like a tiger freed from its cage. The thief was originally not tall. Being charged at by a tall, burly man like Chow Yuan, plus the fact that he was doing something wrong, his heart was pounding. He went weak, and as he turned to run, he nearly fainted and fell flat on his face. Unfortunately for him, he had climbed over the wall to get in. Now, being chased and beaten repeatedly by Chow Yuan, he couldn't easily climb back out. Very soon, the thief was tied up by Chow Yuan and thrown into the yard. Only then did Chow Yuan have time to check on De Huang. In the end, De Huang had been drugged, lying on the ground, unconscious. Chow Yuan turned back, grabbed the thief, and beat him repeatedly. He beat him until the other kept begging for mercy, saying he had just fed De Huang sleeping pills, not poison. Even so, Chow Yuan mixed some soapy water and poured it directly into De Huang's mouth. About 5 or 6 minutes later, De Huang gradually recovered and started throwing up water. Half an hour later, De Huang finally managed to stand up, but he was still listless, without any strength. Chow Yuan, furious, grabbed the thief again and gave him another beating. He beat him until the thief was screaming loudly, and then he started crying. This guy was so aggrieved that Chow Yuan cracked a smile. When Chow Yuan got a flashlight from inside and shined it directly on the guy's face. Damn it, this sneaky bastard, he looked really irritating. Looking at this face again, it seemed a bit familiar. You, what's your name? How many people in your family? How many acres of land do you have? I'll talk. My name is Erbu, everyone calls me Bu Zi. My family lives in Er Dao Wei Zi. At home, it's just my parents and me, 3 people. As for our land, I really don't know. Don't hit me. That face was strangely familiar. Chow Yuan felt that the name Erbu was even more familiar. So he asked one more trivial question. Are you alone? Do you have an accomplice? Erbu said. Someone taught me to do this. Does that count as an accomplice? Who? Tu Dain Mai. He said you could give 1,000 te as betrothal money, but the family probably has no money. This adulterous peasant couple really takes people by surprise. The next morning, Chow Vien directly took Tra Nibu to the village chief's office. Secretary Jung was also there. He directly told Director True of the quality department to send someone to the police station. Interrogate thoroughly. Tra Nibu was scared out of his wits, so terrified he could barely stand. Greet your future father-in-law. Chow Vien then went back home. There was still a lot to do, and as soon as he stepped out the door, he ran into Lak Yen. Behind him came the cheerful jingle of a bell and the soft sound of a door. Is it you? Is it you? You walk really fast. Even with the bicycle, I had to try hard to catch up. Jung Lak Yen squeezed the brakes and slowed down. Hurry up, I'll give you a ride. You just said you had to try hard to catch up with me. If I get on the bike, won't you pedal even slower? Despite that, Jung Lak Yen lifted her chin without hesitation. Like a swan, not at all haughty. Really beautiful in the morning sunlight. The two of them, one running, one cycling, returned home. Jung Lak Yen also understood clearly what exactly had happened that night. This adulterous peasant couple actually had the nerve to come to the house to beg for help. A pair of eyes full of killing intent, quite resembling the strong demeanor of that woman. As a result, the two had just been home for a short while. When Jung Lak Yen was mixing beef for Dai Hong, Tu Dain Mai, with disheveled hair, came straight to the house, demanding that Chow Vien pay her wages. Chow Vien ignored her, not paying her any attention. How frightening, I really was blind. And to be tricked and played by a woman like this. Tu Dain Mai then plopped down on the ground in front of Chow Vien's door, crying and screaming to attract onlookers. This guy, Chow Vien, is a big man, really hard to deal with. Was he supposed to argue with her? That would look really undignified. Jung Lak Yen pushed him inside. Leave it to me, I'll deal with her. Chow Vien still had a little disbelief. No, I'm afraid you'll get hurt. After all, Jung Lak Yen is very soft and gentle. If she gets scratched or torn, it wouldn't be good. Even if she trades injuries, it's still a loss. Unexpectedly, Jung Lak Yen had already pushed Chow Vien into the house, turned back to the front gate, looked at Tu Dain Mai, who was causing a scene. She couldn't help but laugh. A woman like you wants to marry my Chow Vien? Are you dreaming in broad daylight? I Duong Lak Yen am telling you, you're not even qualified to steal my man. Tu Dain Mai was completely stunned by the scolding. She only thought Chow Yuan was honest and easy to push around. Who would have guessed? That spoiled Duong Lak Yen could be so fierce. The neighbor knows everything about her. The Jung family has already been proposed to by the Ngu family. As for the Tu family, that's not the case. Just like that, Tu Dain Mai immediately realized she had come to the wrong place today. She stood up at once, wanting to run away. However, Jung Lak Yen wasn't about to let her off easily. If you can't have my man, then you only deserve your dog of a man. Chi Ba snatched the gifts. Just you wait here. The police will be here to arrest you soon. But this is good too. You can run and ruin your whole family. How much food can you actually supply? While talking, a blue 3-wheeled motorcycle suddenly drove up. A man in a big hat stepped out of the vehicle. Chi Ba walked up to Tu Dain Mai. You're Tu Dain Mai, right? Come with me, and thump. Tu Dain Mai fell to the ground. After that was settled, the 3-wheeled motorcycle sped off in a flash. The neighbors watched as it gradually disappeared. She walked back to the east room with her head held high, like a victorious female general returning. I won't embarrass you in front of others. Chow Yuan just gives a thumbs up. His praise is completely genuine. Duong Lak Yen is feeling smug. Then she notices Chow Yuan starting to work with a different type of wood. This wood is long and thick, obviously extremely sturdy. What's this for? A double-leaf cabinet doesn't seem to need wood this long and thick. Chow Yuan squints. He looks at the perfectly smooth surface. They all say it's a new bed for the two of us to sleep on. So don't try to set me up. Your mother's face is just now returning to normal. Look, this is Western palace style. This is traditional Chinese style. This is modern Chinese style. This is a rascal's East meets West style. Which one do you like? I think they're all beautiful. Jung Lak Yen just needs to be sure, that's fine. Jung Lak Yen was so stunned she couldn't give a concrete opinion. Chow Veen had to figure it out himself. Sometimes he would draw a sketch. Then he'd find it unsatisfactory. So he'd throw it away and redesign it. Duong Lak Yen watched and felt sorry for him. She gently advised, after all it's just a bed. Being able to sleep is good enough. Why rack your brain so much? He said it with special seriousness. This marriage is too rushed. We don't even have a new house. I've really made you suffer. However, for now I can't give you a new house. But I can still give you a new kitchen. Jung Lak Yen couldn't help but listen to him. She felt that everything he said were very ordinary words. But they easily moved her so much. She snapped back to reality. Jung Lak Yen with her eyes burning. She couldn't help murmuring, Jung Lak Yen, Jung Lak Yen. She had completely fallen into the love trap. In the afternoon, the temperature warmed up a bit. Hung Kwang then brought people over. Along the way, he hauled half a truckload of quicklime. 21 bags brought in a cart of sand. The situation was urgent. There were only a little more than 10 days until the official wedding day. These old houses inside the compound could only be renovated. Just a little plaster on the inside walls is fine. Dao Veen went out and hired for a round. Then he gave the entire old house to third brother and his people. Soon, Dai Hong's doghouse was dismantled. Dai Hong rushed fiercely. It was chained to the livestock post at the gate. Jung Lak Yen held back and said nothing. Soon, the pens for cows and chickens in the yard were also dismantled. Jung Lak Yen couldn't help but say, I was planning to raise a few chickens later to get eggs to eat. Third sister said with a laugh, don't rush. At the latest, by the end of next year, the house will be completely torn down and rebuilt. Whatever you want, I'll make it for you. Jung Lak Yen showed a look of surprise. She turned her head, couldn't help feeling sorry for the money. That would cost so much money up front. Money earned is meant to be spent, isn't it? They are chatting. Hung Kwang hurriedly runs in. That's right, little sister. I forgot to tell you earlier. There's a household in the team that wants a combination cabinet. But they said, it's best if the exterior is made of 3-ply plywood. It's both luxurious and easy to clean. Chow Veen carefully notes it down. No problem. Oh Chow Veen. You don't need to be polite to me. They're a wealthy family. Hung Kwang finishes speaking and leaves. Chow Veen shrugs. See, the chance to make money has come. Jung Lak Yen also says happily, third sister and brother third treat us so well. But, this household wanting a combination cabinet wrapped in 3-ply plywood reminds Chow Veen. Well, tonight, the people's consumption concept is just one word, luxury. Maybe in wedding design. Chow Veen immediately has an idea. Jung Lak Yen also doesn't go against others. Seeing Chow Veen absorbed in thought, she takes the initiative to light the honeycomb briquette stove and put hot water on. Soon, when the workers brought by brother third rest, they all have hot water to drink. Unconsciously, Jung Lak Yen quietly does things that only a wife would do. One day, the 14th of the 12th lunar month. Lunar New Year is approaching, the wedding day is approaching. Early in the morning at dawn, Aunt Fourth Hung Kwang has already arrived. Next is fourth sister No Phuong Hoa, who lives closest. Then comes from the district. Second sister No Nak Hoa arrives, travel-worn and tired. Finally, eldest sister No Tuk Hoa arrives late. This is the first time Jung Lak Yen meets all the sisters together. As a bride-to-be about to join her husband's family, her heart is uneasy and restless. In the past, every day, this is the first time Jung Lak Yen meets all the sisters together. As a bride-to-be about to join her husband's family, her heart is uneasy and restless, completely unaware that next, the sisters will erupt into a big fight tearing each other apart. Aunt Fourth Hung Kwang had already anticipated this, so she supported Chow Veen in taking Jung Lak Yen to the county town for a stroll. A good daughter-in-law like that shouldn't be left waiting at home. Don't scare her off before she's even here. Let's talk to Gao Di about keeping the bride price low and planning the wedding. Like using real knives and iron hooks for the backrest. And some metal fittings to strengthen the yang energy. Have him marry her before someone else snatches her up with a bicycle and a bunch of gifts. Yang Liyen had now become the master of the old house. In the room, around the table, the four sisters sat on four sides. Each facing a different direction, even though they sat from north to south. The one in the highest seat was the eldest sister Wu Shuhua, but the one who actually held the power to speak was the third sister, Wu Suhua, sitting from west to east. Though our parents died young, they treated us all well. Each of us married into good families with dowries, and they didn't short us a single cent. The only thing left was the money for Gao Di to get married. Gao Di used all of it to pay for our parents' medical treatment. He didn't let any of us sisters spend a single cent. Now that Gao Di has finally found a good girl, and he's starting a family and career, shouldn't we sisters step in for Gao Di? You all can take some of your own money. and willingly contribute a portion. He didn't let any of us sisters spend a single cent. Now that Gao Di has finally found a good girl, and he's starting a family and career, shouldn't we sisters stand in for our parents and handle the wedding arrangements for Gao Di? I'll chip in. I have 300, Aunt Tu Hua said bluntly. She directly laid down 30 big bills to force the issue. The eldest sister, Wu Shu Hua, turned her face away. If she pretended not to see the money, she might escape the ordeal today. The second sister clearly read the eldest sister's expression. At this moment it was all eyes on the nose on the heart. To not move a hand, not move a muscle, in the end, it was still the fourth sister who knew herself, and always used sweet words. Looking down on others, off-key and unstable, she took the initiative to put 200 yuan on the table without a word. Even so, Aunt Tu Hua couldn't hold back the eldest and second sisters. Our parents are watching from behind your back. They say the eldest sister is like a mother. About today's matter, can you really pretend not to see it? How can you sleep soundly with such a conscience? Wu Shu Hua stubbornly said. I don't have the money. Besides, so you can give someone 1,000 te as a betrothal gift. Why would you care about my little gift money? Sister Tahoa completely erupted. She slammed the money table hard, making it ring. Even if I only give a little bit of gift money, that's still my heart and conscience as the oldest sister. No matter how rich you become. Me, as your oldest sister, can I not show my heart? Can I be heartless? Every word stabbed right into the heart. Every word was deadly. Actually, Sister Tahoa didn't want to be like this either. Truly, she had held it in for far too long. Many times, she couldn't understand. Both parents came from noble families. How could they raise such a stingy oldest sister? In the living room, the atmosphere was as tense as a bowstring. Even the workers outside could feel the chill. Someone said to Hung Kwang, Sister Tahoa has lost her temper. Do you want to go in and persuade her? Hung Kwang shook his head firmly. No need, no need. I trust she can handle it. Hung Kwang's judgment wasn't wrong. Right after Sister Tahoa finished her outburst, the second sister looked up at the parents on the altar. Then she opened the money compartment in her leather bag. Layer by layer, she opened it. She placed the 100 te inside on the table. You all know my family's situation. This is all I can take out. Sister Tahoa let out a deep breath. With this 600 te, it's enough. She was satisfied. Right at that moment, the oldest sister moved like lightning. She tossed out 50 te. Then, with a not afraid of freezing to death attitude, she said, This is all I can do. Not a single cent more. Sister Tahoa put that 50 te away, then couldn't help but laugh. Oldest sister, if it weren't that the little brother doesn't allow me to use force, you wouldn't be taking a single cent home today. Besides, the little brother also said, the money we spent today he's keeping it all in his heart. He'll pay us back later. He will give it to him. He will give him something to remember in his heart. Later, he will repay every single cent. Meeting someone who clearly distinguishes right from wrong. So independent and self-reliant. You sisters can secretly be happy. If it were someone else's house, without the mother skinning us alive, how could she let us off? Mua Tu Hoa also relaxed, spreading her hands. Even if you make a move, it's useless. After all, I only have these 50 te. Okay, 50 it is. Chowda is not a fool. Who gives more, who gives less, doesn't he know? Today, let's say it's us sisters expressing our sincerity. We sisters say that Chowda gave us an opportunity. Chowda is someone who will achieve great things. By then, even if you sisters want to help, there won't be such a good opportunity anymore. Everyone knows that sending coal in the snow is hard, but embroidering flowers on brocade is easy. Yet there are people who would rather willingly embroider flowers on brocade. They don't want to send coal in the snow, after receiving money and speaking carelessly. Mua Tu Hoa then didn't bother to pay attention to these sisters anymore. She didn't even offer a sip of water. After all, this is their old home. If you want water, boil it yourself. However, the eldest sister and the second sister quickly left. You just stay here for a while. She followed behind Mua Tu Hoa for a long time before making up her mind. Third sister, let me clean Chowda's things on the beam. Mua Tu Hoa remembers to ask tomorrow. I'm sure my husband won't have anyone to listen. Mua Tu Hoa then didn't bother to pay attention to these sisters anymore. She didn't even offer a sip of water. After all, this is their old home. If you want water, boil it yourself. Mua Tu Hoa remembers to ask tomorrow. I'm sure my husband won't because of this matter. And talk back and forth beforehand. Mua Tu Hoa's voice was a little weak. No, my husband won't. Fine, I'll give you this chance. But if I hear even half a word from that old Chung's mouth, don't blame me, this sister will turn her back. No, third sister. Just think about how Chowda treated that father who forced us to demolish my house. I know. Elsewhere, in front of a 28-inch bicycle quickly gliding through the village roads. The cold wind blowing through stirs the heart even more. Jung Lak Yen gave the scarf to Chow Vien. and she sat behind, shivering cold. Initially, Chow Vin was thinking about buying things. When he realized it, he quickly got off the bike and slapped his own head. Look at this head of mine, always worrying about things. Made you freeze cold. Duong Lak Yen's cheeks were bright red from the cold, but she was still in the mood to joke. I didn't expect. Your bike could go that fast. That we could go that fast. She immediately had Chow Yuan help wrap her scarf, wrapped it tight and snug. Then she got back on the bike, sat steady in front, slipped her hands inside his coat to warm them, and also hugged him tight. Okay, this time I'll go slower. If you're cold, you definitely have to tell me. Got it. The young couple set off again. The rest of the road was much warmer, until they reached Zweching Palace. Only then did Duong Lak Yen reluctantly get off and pat herself down. She immediately had Chow Yuan help wrap her scarf, wrapped it tight and snug. Duong Lak Yen finally got off the bike, stuck her head out to ask. We're here. Before, going to the county felt so far away. But after today, it feels so close. Chow Yuan parked the 28-inch bike outside Zweching Palace's gate. Then he reached out, took Duong Lak Yen's hand, and walked straight inside. This time, Chow Yuan grabbing her hand was completely instinctive. After all, Zweching Palace was crowded. If they didn't hold hands, they might lose each other. Caught Duong Lak Yen by surprise. She lowered her head, embarrassed for a long while. Cut almost 2 meters of brown faux leather. Also cut 1 2-meter square piece of high-density muslin. Various metal accessories didn't need much worry. Chow Yuan specially picked for Duong Lak Yen. The pinkish yellow and brown faux leather she liked. And the natural wood color combined harmoniously too. After buying, the two held hands and walked back, until Chow Yuan glanced sideways, and spotted a pile of diamond springs. This stuff was great material for making premium mattresses. Chow Yuan had an idea. Don't laugh, no matter how pretty it looks, it can't beat a good mattress. Come on, nowadays. Only high-end hotels use premium mattresses. For an ordinary home to have this, it's absolutely the height of luxury. Well now, absolutely the height of luxury. Luxury has arrived right at home. Moreover, since I've decided to give Lak Yen a new bed, I have to give her the best one. In the future, she'll bear children on this bed. Just thinking about it makes it worth it. It has to be tough. Once decided, I'll do it right away. Chow Vin thought for a moment. He estimated the materials needed for the Simon mattress were almost sufficient. Besides having enough diamond springs, he also needed enough high-density foam and non-woven fabric. Finally, the outer mattress cover. It had to be bright red, bringing a cheerful atmosphere. After a careful selection, the total cost of 100 jumped to 200 TE. Seeing Chow Vin pick out so many things in one breath, Duong Lak Yen didn't understand, so she asked, "What do you need so many springs for?" Chow Vin smiled mysteriously. "You'll know when the time comes." "Oh, do you know how to use a sewing machine?" "Of course I do." "Then I've decided to give you a glorious mission. Thank you for trusting me. I guarantee I'll complete the mission." The young couple gently returned home. Having ordered so many things, asking for home delivery isn't too much to ask, is it? Duong Lak Yen didn't know how Chow Vin had convinced the seller, but she felt a strange sense of confusion. Her dream man was very clear. The young couple arrived home. All the sisters had already breezed out of the house. Only Lai Hung Kwang and the workers were left, continuing with the renovations. All the sisters had already breezed out of the house. Only Lai Hung Kwang and the workers were left, continuing to fix up every nook and cranny of the old house. Chow Vin let out a sigh. Then he rushed straight into the east room. Began sketching the production drawing for the Simon mattress by hand. He had made this in his previous life back in 1992. At that time it was just out of a passing interest. He not only made the Simon mattress, but also a set of sofa chairs. They became the most exquisite furniture in the whole village. Moreover, the Simon mattress and sofa were made by his own hands. It had been used for many years, until the coating wore off after years of use. Only then was it completely discarded. So, working with wood by hand was no challenge for him. The only issue was that time was a bit tight. He had to work overtime to keep up with the schedule. And in the evening, Hung Song handed each worker a pack of cigarettes, told them to head home. Then he went into the east room, handed a cigarette to Chow Yuan, saying this time his sisters had taken care of it, told them to go home first. Then, talking to Chow Yuan, he said, "This time all your sisters gave money, including the eldest sister." Chow Yuan was very surprised. Third sister must have put in quite a bit of money. Luckily, he understood. "Your third sister just doesn't want this big family to fall apart like this." "I understand you, third sister." Chow Yuan took a deep drag and said, "Don't worry, as long as Lak Yen and I live a comfortable life, this family won't fall apart." "That's right. It's also so that your third sister's years of effort won't go to waste." On the 15th day of the 12th lunar month, a warm hole formed in the frozen river. Water flowed in the pond, but the riverbank was still thick with ice. Seeing that the farm renovations were complete, Today, Hung Song and the workers didn't need to come. Early in the morning, Chow Yuan picked up a broom and swept the yard. Truly felt like it had taken on a new look. Later that day, the people from Tonkung Market delivered the goods to the house. After Chow Yuan carefully inspected the goods, he paid the remaining amount. As soon as the Tonkung Market people left, Duong Lak Yen pedaled a women's bicycle into the yard. Then, she proudly rode another lap around the yard. Afraid Chow Yuan wouldn't notice. Today, she had changed into new clothes from head to toe. Really pretty outfit. Duong Lak Yen lightly landed like a swallow. A wedding outfit my mom bought for me. I wore it especially for you to see. Our mom's sewing skills go without saying. Besides, a beautiful woman looks good in anything. You have a silver tongue. Duong Lak Yen's face was full of joy. Then, she pulled out a stack of United Front notes from her inner pocket. This is the betrothal money you gave. My dad gave it to me a long time ago. I saw you needed money to organize the wedding, so I brought it to you. No need, I won't be using this money for now. Just keep it safe. Actually, it can't be done. Chow Veen picked up the items that had been delivered. Among them, the bright red fabric was delivered to Jung Lak Yen. Then he took the spring mattress sketch from the east room and reported the dimensions of the mattress cover to Jung Lak Yen. Jung Lak Yen snatched the sketch. What is this, exactly? A spring mattress, have you heard of it? When on the bed, it's very comfortable. Carpenter. And he even knows how to make spring mattresses. Oh my, is there anything you don't know how to do? I said I would make you the best wedding bed. Of course I have to follow through. You've already done enough. After clearly understanding the style and size of the mattress cover, Jung Lak Yen put down the lunchbox, eager to go home and sew. Chow Veen worked overtime, busy day and night making the wedding bed. He absolutely could not delay either. Days passed by like that. Mrs. Tu Hoa took on all the wedding preparations for her youngest brother. From buying all sorts of things to going around distributing invitations. She was quite busy. During this time, there were all kinds of rumors outside. The most common rumor was that Chow Veen marrying the secretary's beloved daughter was aiming too high. That statement isn't wrong. Chow Veen didn't care, but there were people everywhere spreading that he was marrying into the Jung family. This one is truly nonsense. Secretary Jung has 2 biological sons. Why would he need his son-in-law to live with them? Fortunately, Chow Veen always had something to do. He didn't have time to dwell on these matters. The wedding bed was finished, and the spring mattress was almost complete. During this time, someone even came to his door asking about the modular cabinet. They said they had seen the sample at Director Lu's house, so they specially came here looking for Director Lu. That was the government cadre who bought his first set of modular cabinets, who had specially left his address when installing at their door. Now it's good, out of 3 sets of modular cabinets pre-ordered, 2 were secured. Life has hope now. After the Kitchen God Festival on the 20th of the 12th lunar month, another snow fell at the rear banquet. The temperature dropped sharply, and the layer of ice in the water vat grew thicker. Jung Lak Yen finally finished. She brought the mattress cover she had been working on for the past 10 days over, so the young couple wouldn't be without a bed at night. The mattress and the cover were both there. Everything was moved into the east room of the main house, which had been prepared. They began installing on site in front of the big bed measuring 2.2 meters wide. This size was unique in the village. Plus the genuine leather headboard and the shiny metal fittings at the head and foot of the bed. At a glance, it looked very Western, high-end and luxurious. When the 2 of them finally slipped the covers over the mattress together and laid it on the bed. Not only was it a perfect fit in both length and width, the thickness was spot on too. You like it? I love it! Along with a joyful cheer. Jung Lak Yen stretched her arms out as she lay on the new bed and discovered. The spring mattress inside had so many springs. Yet lying on it didn't feel lumpy at all, and compared to tossing around, the noise wasn't loud either. Chow Veen only noticed then that the dark red mattress cover was embroidered with lots of flowers. The flowers bloomed so brilliantly, they completely stole the show, making all those days of hard work worth it. You try lying on it too, Jung Lak Yen eagerly invited. When Chow Veen lay down beside her, once he settled, his breaths brushed against her arm. She only then realized something was off, her pretty face suddenly turning red all the way to her ears. Chow Veen was gazing around, his heart restless. Just as he was drifting off, Mo2 Hoa's voice rang out from the gate. Chow Veen, where are you? When the 2 of them got up and ran out of the house, Mo2 Hoa asked belatedly. Am I interrupting you too? No, Sister Ba. Jung Lak Yen, thin-skinned, vehemently denied it. Even if they were interrupting, it was fine. After all, once you 2 get married the day after tomorrow, you'll have plenty of uninterrupted time. Chow Veen just grinned foolishly. Alright, quit smiling. Today you 2 go register your marriage, and on the way, stop by the county department store. Buy Lak Yen a Shanghai brand watch. Lak Yen's coming to our home, we can't let her go without anything, or outsiders will laugh at us. Mo2 Hoa said as she shoved 200 TE into Chow Veen's hand. Jung Lak Yen kept saying no need, but couldn't stop Chow Veen. After all, when you owe a lot, you stop feeling the itch. When you're deep in debt, you don't worry, so what's another 200 T? The department store usually quiet. Now near New Year, people came to buy holiday goods. In the past 2 years, quite a few folks who went out to hustle made money. In front of the refrigerator, TV, and washing machine counters, crowds had gathered. Chow Vin got Jung Lak Yen a women's Shanghai brand watch. Then bought an extra pair of leather shoes, leaving only 20 TE in his pocket. Passing by the furniture counter, he saw a set of imported premium soft mattresses priced at 5 to 2,000 TE. Jung Lak Yen at that moment, beyond surprise, couldn't help but press her chest and hold her head high. Looking back at those buying fridges, TVs, and washing machines, she wasn't so envious anymore, as long as her man had the ability. Getting these things was just a matter of time. On the way back, Jung Lak Yen sat on the back seat, holding Chow Vin tightly. In the village, some said Chow Vin was reaching too high and didn't deserve her. Little did they know, as an insider, she felt incredibly lucky. But Mom was right, she should just quietly enjoy this. No need to shout it out for everyone to know. The 28-inch bicycle coasted all the way to the canal dam before starting downhill. The road surface was a bit icy after the snow. Chow Vin turned around, controlling the speed. That way it slid smoothly all the way until the speed just kept sliding smoothly. Until they passed the lock and reached the next bend. Suddenly he stopped the bike. Chow Vin planted both feet on the ground, facing the roadside. The matchmaker said, "Take a look at the furniture over here." Yang Luoyen didn't understand what was going on. She got off the cart and looked at the only furniture stall by the road. It was all old furniture. What's more, quite a few pieces were damaged. One look and you could tell this wasn't a reputable furniture shop, not dependable at all. If you tried to find someone later, you'd have no luck. Then she thought again, Chow Yuan is a carpenter. He can tell good furniture from bad at a single glance. Why should I be worrying? Chow Yuan knew what he was doing. He crouched down. He carefully examined these pieces that could almost be called antiques, judging from the craftsmanship and carving techniques. He could confirm, every single one was made by craftsmen from the Fragrant Mountain Guild. The craftsmen of the Fragrant Mountain Guild were famous. He had heard of them like thunder, and had even specially collected their work before. Man, seeing a whole pile of them right in front of him, too bad he had no money left. If he did, he'd buy them all. Just a bit of repair work, and later he could sell them to people who knew their worth. No way he'd take a loss. Chow Yuan felt a pang of regret. Just as he was about to stand up and leave, his eyes suddenly landed on that armchair with a broken leg. The marks of time were still clearly visible. It looked a little familiar, seemed like old rosewood. Chow Yuan didn't show anything on his face. He looked a few more times. That's right, no doubt about it, it's old rosewood. And genuine old Wangwali wood to boot. Hey boss, how much are you selling this furniture for? The middle-aged man folded his hands in his sleeves, looking unhurried, and asked back instead. Which piece, brother? Chow Yuan shifted his gaze from the armchair. Casually he patted the octagonal table in front of him and asked, "This table, 100 TE. Boss, I really want to buy it. Can you do 20 TE? 20 TE for this octagonal table? This is the work of the Fragrant Mountain craftsman. You think you're buying vegetables? 20 TE. You think you're buying vegetables? 20 TE will only buy you some broken junk. Can these broken pieces even be fixed?" Chow Yuan dug through the pile of damaged furniture, getting himself dirty and messy. "Boss, can I get this broken piece for 20 TE? No deal. I'm leaving." "Alright, especially those two pieces. It's a deal. Pick them, but once the goods are handed over and the money's paid, don't come crying later about not finding good stuff." Chow Yuan pretended to reluctantly agree, then put on a scheming look. He rummaged through the pile for a good long while, just in case, checking if there was any leftover Wangwali wood that had been overlooked. Even just a leg would do, but there was nothing. Seemed like his luck for the day had run out. But a man should know when to be satisfied. Finally, pretending to hesitate for a bit, Chow Yuan nodded and chose the armchair and the headrest stool. After paying, the armchair was his real target. And as for the headrest stool, that was just an extra because it looked like the least damaged piece. Lucky for him, Sister Three's cart had some rope. Chow Yuan and Lian, the two of them, spent half the day working up a sweat. Only then did he manage to secure the Taisher chair and the front chair. They hurried off, leaving the items behind the cart. Not because they were afraid the furniture boss would change his mind, but because that guy kept staring at Jung Lak Yen. It made people uncomfortable. Once the cart had traveled a good distance, Jung Lak Yen finally asked, "You want to buy this Taisher chair, right? Is there something special about it? Chow Vin, you seem in a good mood? I might as well tell you. This Wangwali Taisher chair only needs a little repair, and sold to the right person who knows its value, I can make 600 TE. Ah, you're really amazing," Jung Lak Yen gasped and quickly said. "Then take it slow. Absolutely don't let anything bump into this treasure." When they got home, fourth sister No Fuang Hoa arrived with the newly finished wedding set. It was packed full, 2 thick quilts, 2 thin quilts, and 2 fancy ones. All made from fresh cotton, soft and warm. The outer covers were bright red and green, smooth to the touch, cheerful inside, plus a pair of mandarin duck pillows. That instantly gave the wedding set a soul. Thank you, fourth sister. Jung Lak Yen happily pulled fourth sister to talk. No, Fuang Hoa stroked Jung Lak Yen's temples. No need to thank me, sister-in-law. It's what I should do. I want you and brother Chow to live well. The 27th of the 12th lunar month is good for weddings and engagements, according to Jung Chi's calculations. It happens to fall on February 14th, Western Valentine's Day. Secretary Yang chose this day to officiate the wedding ceremony. It's clear this day was chosen very carefully. Before dawn, as soon as the rooster crowed for the first time, Jung Lak Yen sprang up quickly, put on her wedding dress, and started looking in the mirror to do her makeup. Today was the biggest day of her life. No one was more eager than her. By the time he pushed the door and walked in, Jung Lak Yen had already finished putting on her wedding dress. Her makeup was more than half done, but she hadn't eaten anything beforehand. She had just opened her mouth to eat. Oh mom, how could I forget breakfast? He sighed softly. This girl is so excited she forgot to eat. After all, a married daughter is like water spilled. Jung Lak Yen quickly ran to the living room and plopped down. She pretended to take a bun and sip some pork congee. At the head seat, Secretary Yang had a stern face, tapped the table with his chopsticks, and his expression turned cold. Be calm and steady in dealing with people. Stop being so rash, young lady. Jung Lak Yen couldn't help but slow down. I know, Dad. These 200 TE are wedding gift money from your mother and me. Keep them for yourself. Don't let that kid know. Dad, no need. We're young, we can earn our own. If I tell you to take it, then take it. Jung Lak Yen hesitated. Actually, it wasn't that she didn't want to marry him, but she didn't want to deliberately hide this money from Chow Yuan. In the end, she still said nothing, and put the money into the youngest daughter's dowry. After breakfast, the eldest sister Duong Then Du finally arrived late. She brought along 2 mischievous kids. Meanwhile, at the old Mo family home, Chow Yuan took Big Yellow to the neighbor aunt's house, to board him for a day, to avoid the crowded guests causing a commotion today. Back here, third sister and her husband Hung Kwang had brought people to help. So in the yard, some were drinking, some were setting things up. Outside, bright red couplets with the character for happiness were pasted up. Red paper strips stretched all the way to the tree at the village entrance. Third sister was making breakfast in the kitchen. When Chow Yuan walked in, he saw her wiping away tears. Third sister, what's wrong? Nothing, just smoke in my eyes. At this moment, Chow Yuan felt he should step forward and quietly give third sister a hug. Even after living 2 lives, he still couldn't bring himself to do it. But he remembered it all in his heart. Third sister was busy in the kitchen. Third brother-in-law handled everything outside. He was in charge as the wedding master of ceremonies today. And there was no doubt about it. It fell into the hands of the loyal and enthusiastic third brother-in-law, so-called master of ceremonies. In some places, they call it guest manager. Not only did he have to handle all the big and small affairs of the wedding, but he also had to be responsible for receiving guests and taking good care of them. Even when a certain banquet table was at a standstill, he had to mediate the relationship between the guests and the host. He had to harmonize relations between high and low. Could be said he had to meticulously handle everything. The sky gradually brightened, and more people arrived. But under Hong Kwang's arrangements, everyone did their part properly. On the other hand, the groom Chow Yuan was flustered. Watching the people with cheerful faces bustling around the wedding scene, he felt a bit overwhelmed, hoping that everything would be on time today. The dowry furniture might be a little lacking, so he wouldn't be scared when sleeping at night. Soon, the drum and gong team and the bridal procession arrived. Groom Chow Yuan officially took his position. He accepted all the arrangements. By 8 or 9 o'clock, the sisters and their children came one after another. The eldest sister Wu Shuhua was reluctant to spend money, but she never held back on sweet words and compliments. First, she praised that Chow Di looked really spirited today. Really handsome. Then she touched the spring mattress and kept praising it nonstop. That was her way of complimenting. This actually made second sister and my sister pay attention to Chow Yuan. Did you really make this yourself? Where did Chow Yuan find this? A mattress this thick would be great in winter. But how do you sleep on it in summer? This is a one-sided spring mattress. Flip it over and it's cool. All the sisters were full of praise. They really started seeing Chow Yuan in a new light. Then eldest sister took the chance to make a request of Chow Yuan. After the new year, could you make me a spring mattress too? Sure, after the new year I'll open up a workshop. You sisters can buy as many as you want, but don't forget to pay in installments. Eldest sister was embarrassed, but third sister was especially warm and kind to Chow Yuan. Chow Yuan really has talent. If I'd known this earlier, I would have spent more money on Chow Yuan's wedding back then. Second sister had to sigh. I really did my best. The fourth brother secretly rejoiced, glad he had fought with third sister early on, for the chance to buy bed linens for Chow Yuan, thinking that Chow Yuan would at least show a bit of face. Actually, Chow Yuan wasn't that scheming when it came to treating the different sisters. Eldest sister and third sister Wu Suhua were happy. Whatever he did was fine with them. The auspicious hour had arrived. Amidst the crackling firecrackers, Chow Yuan was surrounded by everyone as he left the house. At the head of the bridal procession was a matching Phoenix brand bicycle. The procession officially set off. Along the way, the large group set off firecrackers as they crossed bridges. Whenever people blocked the road, they tossed out candy and coins, drawing quite a crowd of onlookers. Until they arrived at the front gate of Uncle Yang Ji's house, a respected intellectual known for miles around. Today he was marrying off his most precious daughter. It was a major event that everyone knew about. Even half a month earlier, other families planning weddings would quietly change their dates upon hearing it clashed with old Yang's. So today, the Yang family wedding was packed with people. Let alone me, even pushing a bicycle was as hard as climbing a mountain. Luckily, they had coins, candy, small bills, and loose change to clear the way. Took over half an hour. Chow Yuan finally made it to the front gate of the Yang family. The crowd gathered at the Yang family gate. Most of them were relatives of Yang Lian, some on the upper floor, some down below. These relatives looked at the bridal procession, naturally carrying a sense of superiority. But as the groom got closer, they noticed, never mind everything else, the groom was truly tall and handsome. And with Lian, they made a perfect pair blessed with talent and beauty. So after Chow Yuan smiled and tossed out a round of lucky money, the crowd blocking the door immediately thinned by more than half. Only a few stubborn ones still refused to leave. This was no longer Chow Yuan's concern. He left it to the bicycle team, who specialized in dealing with wedding disruptions. It was just a matter of an extra pack of cigarettes. More than 10 minutes later, after sacrificing 6 packs of wedding cigarettes, the big door swung open. Chow Yuan first called out to Secretary Yang in the courtyard and the secretary's wife. Just haven't changed the way we address each other yet. Later that day, I ran into first sister-in-law Du and brother-in-law Ma Chongshan, brother-in-law Yang Ben and sister-in-law Li Yun, second brother-in-law Yang Meng and sister-in-law Jiang Fan. I also slipped a little red envelope money to the kids. It's getting late, hurry up and go, Secretary Yang is rushing. Gao Yuan took a breath after finishing one, but there were still 2 doors left. But he had already run out of patience. It was hard to find someone good enough to send in for negotiations. He would even accept paying for medicine and bribes, because he couldn't wait any longer to see his beautiful bride. Luckily, a pro is a pro. The remaining 2 doors took only 10 minutes total to open. Gao Yuan finally appeared, in front of the stunning Yang Lian. In the 15 years I've known you, today, you are the most beautiful. As soon as those words left his mouth, the atmosphere instantly turned romantic. 15 years of meeting and understanding, only to be together forever from now on. Does anyone object to this match? In the bridal room, cheers and encouragement rang out non-stop. Even the bridesmaid, who had hidden the bride's red leather shoes, could no longer keep up the act. She handed them over voluntarily, and Gao Yuan personally put the red leather shoes on Yang Lian. Yang Lian reached out and wiped the sweat from his face, causing another round of exaggerated complaints. This young couple is brutal. Together they scattered the grains. If one dies, the other doesn't pay with their life. Back up, back up, back up. As everyone stepped back, Gao Yuan took Yang Lian by the sleeve and led her to the living room, serving tea and changing how he addressed Secretary Yang and his wife. Secretary Yang was very pleased with his new daughter-in-law. Most of all, she brought him face and pride. While outsiders gossiped about Gao Yuan marrying up, they definitely wouldn't say Secretary Yang lacked judgment, but rather that he knew how to spot talent and support the younger generation. So he happily responded. They drank tea, exchanged red envelopes, and saw the youngest daughter off at the door, following tradition. When the bride leaves her mother's home, her feet must not touch the ground. That means someone has to carry her out of the house, until she's put into the car. The bride's eldest and second brothers naturally couldn't make an appearance. From the bride's side, only a young cousin could step forward. As soon as Gao Yuan saw the cousin's stature, he immediately stepped in, shoved a celebratory cigarette into his hand, then scooped Yang Lian up in a princess carry and carried her out the door, reflected in the shimmering light of her bright red wedding dress. The groom and the bride left the Jung family gate together. Amid the loud crackling of firecrackers, Chow Vin had Jung Lak Yen settled securely in the back seat. Then, without turning the car, he drove straight with the procession, not taking the old road. The bridal pickup procession departed aggressively. Behind, the bridal send-off procession arranged by the Jung family immediately followed aggressively. Unlike the pickup procession, which had only 9 identical bicycles, the send-off procession had up to 18 flatbed pull carts and wheelbarrows. On each flatbed cart was displayed a large piece of furniture or dowry item. Secretary Jung could have arranged a truck to carry all the dowry in one trip, but doing so would lack significance, since the 2 families weren't far apart. Only about 2 miles, a truck would take 5 minutes to finish. Outsiders wouldn't even get a good look at Secretary Jung's generosity, and what face would there be left? Only with this procession of flatbed carts is the scene more spectacular. And moreover, everything in the dowry is clearly visible. So, by the time the bridal pickup procession arrived at the No family home, in front of the last flatbed cart of the send-off procession, in front of the last ox cart carrying the No family's betrothal gifts, had just left the Jung house not long ago. The bride had already arrived home, and thousands of firecrackers immediately thundered, stepping over the fire basin to cleanse the dust from her feet, from who knows where. And how many children were drawn there? The children scrambled around, all wanting to see the beautiful bride. Chow Veen suddenly felt pressure like a mountain. The wedding snacks from earlier were completely exhausted. The pickup experts also had their hands full. Finally, they had to rely on Hung Kwang, who had prepared in advance. Going to the place where the wedding snacks intended for the couple to take to the bride's home were brought out. They barely managed to deal with the situation. The No family's father-in-law and mother-in-law were both no longer alive. Hung Kwang specially invited Chow Veen's master, Kyo Tu, to come here, to act as a relative to welcome the bride. This was an extremely honorable and joyous occasion. Kyo Tu was naturally immensely proud. Even if he had to pay for costly red envelopes, he was willing. Finally, along with a long burst of thunderous firecrackers outside, Chow Veen escorted Jung Lak Yen to rest on the wedding bed in the bridal chamber. Outside, the banquet officially began. Tired but full of happiness, Chow Veen stuffed a handful of roasted lean meat into Jung Lak Yen's hand. This was a treat he had painstakingly saved, just to secretly give to his wife, so she could have something to eat to tide her over. After Chow Veen went out to receive guests, the neighbors and relatives of the No family flooded into the bridal chamber one after another. The new bride's face, facing so many unfamiliar faces that were laughing and talking. Jung Lak Yen was somewhat awkward. Fortunately, the eldest sister No Tahoa entered at this moment. She was finally able to be of some use. Standing beside her sister-in-law, she introduced to her all the relatives and kin of the No family, so she could quickly adapt to the role of the female head of the No household. Chow Veen went outside for nothing else but to arrange for the Jung family's bridal send-off team to have a meal. The send-off team was led by the Jung family's second uncle, Jung Kwak Chu. One look and you could tell he was a sharp and knowledgeable person. Chow Veen politely invited him to take a look in the bridal chamber. As a result, Jung Kwak Chu glanced and noticed Jung Lak Yen smiling. Especially this beautiful one. Chow Yuan nodded silently. This cabinet isn't cheap at all. It's decent. The one I made works for both winter and summer, just as good as imported ones. This cabinet is clearly well made. Even if my brother hired someone himself, he couldn't have done better than this. You're exaggerating, uncle. As they were talking, the cart team outside had brought back a 19-inch Panda color TV. A sewing machine, a matching wardrobe, a large wardrobe, a dressing table, 2 big mirrors, all arranged by Hung Dang. Item by item, they were moved into the house, and soon the bridal room was fully decorated. The rest could only be temporarily placed in the western main room. After the work was done, the cart drivers took their wedding invitation cards and candies and left. The bridal party, led by the groom's family, stayed for the feast. Of course, they only had a little taste, ate a bit, and then left. After all, their home wasn't here. Several tables of food were set out, and the yard was filled with a rich aroma. It felt like an early New Year's celebration. The kids playing in the bridal room instantly disappeared without a trace. Chow Yuan took the chance to bring a bowl of 4 joy meatballs into the room, handing them to the new bride sitting on the bridal bed, staring intently as she took a bite. At first, Duong Lak Yen tried to keep up appearances and didn't dare sneak a bite. Chow Yuan gently closed the door. Duong Lak Yen looked at the fragrant 4 joy meatballs. She couldn't resist anymore and downed a meatball the size of a fist. Duong Lak Yen was already half full. Her back straightened as she sat on the bridal bed. I even stretched out my long legs, and the sight made Chow Yuan's heart race. Duong Lak Yen blushed, her heart pounding under his gaze, and finally couldn't withstand that burning look. She gave him a gentle kiss. Just then, the eldest sister's kid, Lan Miu Miu, burst in. She was also carrying a bowl of sliced meat. Apparently, she had come to bring food to her aunt. Seeing Chow Yuan there too, Lan Miu Miu pretended to be curious and teased. Hey, why is your face all covered in lipstick? Chow Yuan hurriedly wiped it off, making Lan Miu Miu burst out laughing. Even Duong Lak Yen turned bright red. Although this kid was a generation below. In reality, Lan Miu Miu was only 3 years younger than Chow Yuan. She had been tagging along after him countless times since they were kids. All over the brigade, all over the outer rooms. Now that she'd grown up into a girl, she started acting more reserved. Lan Miu Miu laughed and ran off, prompting Chow Yuan to chase her into the yard. Standing under the old locust tree at the front door, Lan Miu Miu took out a red envelope and handed it to Chow Yuan. Mom told me to give this to you. I'm here to give you charity on behalf of Mom. Chow Yuan kept his hands in his pockets, completely refusing. I'm your uncle. How can I take money from you? Put it away. Besides, your uncle is a man of big things. How can you add this little bit of spare change? He looked cold and suspicious for a moment. Then he seriously explained himself, but you really have changed. You've become dishonest. Why would you talk about your uncle like that? If he were honest and simple, how would he have landed a beauty like your wife? What a blunt truth, the master was left a bit speechless. Go on, what kind of nonsense are you kids thinking? When the 2 consecutive banquets finally ended, it was already 9 p.m. by the time they saw off all the guests. Xiong Chong finished arranging things for the next day, and was promptly dragged away by Wu Suhua. The night was quiet, freezing cold outside the window, but warm as spring indoors. Did you saw the legs? Did you press down on them? Yes, I saw it and pressed. I didn't see you, dear, but I'm scared. Wife, listen to me. I'm not bragging. Our mattress got a lot of compliments today, right? Everyone who saw it praised it, didn't they? 2 people already placed orders with me, and even my master, 4th master, asked me how I made it. Wow, you're amazing. So, I'm planning to open a woodworking shop after the new year. We'll make more spring mattresses. That's great news. I support you, but our mattress has one problem. What problem? It lacks thorough testing. Since I support you, I need to test this mattress with you to see if it's good. How do we test it? Simple, just relax and cooperate with me. 10 sounds of the spring mattress echoed in the main room. The first test was over. This mattress of ours isn't bad, is it? Pretty good experience. Yeah, but I think the testing isn't enough yet. 1 or 2 times don't really prove anything. So what do? We need to keep testing the pressure. The next day, the 28th of the 12th lunar month. This year, the 20th is counted as 30, so today feels like the day before New Year's Eve. The rooster next door at the Shin family crowed twice, and Duong Lak Yen tried to suppress the slight discomfort. She fumbled her way up. From now on, she was the daughter-in-law of the Wu family. She had to carry her own weight. She couldn't hide under 3rd sister's protection and only think about enjoying a good life. That kind of life definitely wouldn't last. She opened the gate, ready to cross the yard, and found 3rd sister and her brother-in-law already waiting outside. Duong Lak Yen was so moved she could barely hold back. She greeted them softly. 3rd sister, brother-in-law. After they didn't call her, Wu Suhua stood up and brushed off the frost clinging to her jacket. What's there to call? We're family. Hung Kwang snatched the tool from his sister-in-law's hand. 3rd sister asked, did you bring over the good jam? Duong Lak Yen immediately blushed to her neck, both embarrassed and astonished. She bit her lower lip and nodded. 3rd sister smiled brightly. You go ahead and keep working. Here, your sister and brother will teach you. That's enough. Duong Lak Yen had no choice but to go boil water. She had done this before. She was very skilled, and waited until the yard was swept clean. Chow Veen also rubbed his eyes and woke up. Today that side will pick up the daughter and daughter-in-law to visit home. This side also must be enthusiastic, entertaining the wife's brother coming over from that side. 3rd sister selected a few dishes to reheat. Everyone ate breakfast together. Then she took out 2 packs of cigarettes and 2 bottles of wine. Along with 2 milk fruits, some homemade goods, honey and candy. A basket full, really not a small amount. Duong Lak Yen took it in her hand and couldn't help hesitating. 3rd sister, this is too much. Not too much, not too much. 3rd sister kept shaking her head, smiling and saying, Secretary Duong gave such a generous dowry. We can't be ungrateful either. Especially in terms of appearances, we have to do things properly. Social relationships. 3rd sister always thinks ahead. Moreover, this thoughtfulness isn't like 4th sister, who judges people by their looks. Wife, Chow Veen concluded. Listen to 3rd sister. Living isn't about saving by tightening your spending. It's about earning through hard work. Seeing that time was approaching, the couple rode 1 bicycle together straight to Uncle Duong Chi's house. On the way, they met eldest brother Duong Ban and second brother Duong Mang. Surprisingly, Duong Ban took the initiative to call Chow Veen off the bike to smoke a cigarette. Then they continued on their way. After they parted, Duong Lak Yen realized something. The brothers today are not quite normal. Chow Veen laughed. This is a good change. Don't overthink it. On the other hand, Duong Mang couldn't help asking Duong Ban. Eldest brother, do you really consider that kid as family? Duong Ban said leisurely, our father has been dominating the 10-mile, 8-village area for so many years. How could he misjudge someone? Moreover, even second uncle came back yesterday. He also praised that kid endlessly. Isn't this enough to prove the point? Duong Mang was angry, and he couldn't stop thinking about it. In a sour tone he said, Father is probably a humble wise man. Well, there's one person who sees it. As for second uncle, perhaps yesterday he was just drunk and talking nonsense. The daughter, who had been married off, returned to her mother's home for the first time. Uncle De was the most important. However, as soon as Chow Yuan arrived at Uncle Yang's house and called out, Mom and Dad, Secretary Yang called him into the living room, and second Uncle Yang Guizhu was already waiting there. Yesterday you mentioned that your second brother wanted to open a woodworking shop. Is that true or not? Sister, second uncle, the shop absolutely has to open. Right now, I'm still getting orders for modular cabinets and even quite a few sofa cushions. Relying on just me alone, working day and night, I can't keep up. It's just that the conditions aren't right yet. What conditions? Chow Yuan offered the two elders cigarettes. Then I'll fill you in over a drink. I won't even mention the personnel and capital. The most important thing is still the policies and trends from higher-ups. From what I know, right now the higher-ups encourage individual households. But they still limit the number of people you can hire. At most, you can open a family workshop, you can't scale up. Yang Guizhu thought, figuring there was someone clever here. Can't you directly open the workshop in the village's name? Chow Yuan didn't get a chance to explain this issue. Secretary Yang quickly shot it down. In the village's name. How would we handle ownership? If ownership isn't clear, once Xiao Yuan builds the workshop into something big, those bloodsuckers will come after it. You won't be able to stop them even if you try. As for the ownership issue, Chow Yuan already had a solution in mind. But before he had certain legal rights, he wasn't going to go down that path. Yang Guizhu couldn't figure it out and could only stay quiet. After all, the Office for Combating Speculation and Profiteering was still around. Where the situation would go, no one could say for sure. Secretary Yang turned around and spoke again. What about taking on apprentices in your name? Find a few helpers, won't that work? Chow Yuan nodded. Sister, that approach works. But I just started out in carpentry. Off the bat, it's hard to find people willing to take me as a master. Secretary Yang thumped his chest confidently. That's not hard. I'll find you a few kids who are light on their feet and hardworking. No problem. Then thank you, father. Family doesn't need to be polite. Your sister and your second uncle have some business. Go ahead and start drinking. Chow Yuan stood up and left. Once the door was shut tight, Yang Guizhu couldn't help but praise. Big brother, you picked a good apprentice. Your future achievements will surpass mine. Seems like she leans back, unable to hide her smugness. I'm just a village official looking after her. Well, I may have achievements before, but among the younger generation, little brother is truly number one. Even stronger than that elementary school principal from Kanchan Van. A lot, it's also due to good luck. To have met such a promising young man. Haha, after chatting with the two elders, the rest is just formality. Moreover, with a seriously ill wife like Jung Lak Yen there, the new guests from the Jung family also didn't dare to congratulate Chow Vin too much. They just kept inviting him to keep the atmosphere from becoming boring. Already drunk, he pulled his youngest daughter into the room. He asked softly, he treats you well, right? Mom, very well. Now both father and second uncle can't stop praising him. Don't spoil him too much either, letting him joke around and be frivolous. Mom, what are you saying? We're doing very well. He didn't say anything more. The young couple are deeply in love now. She knew that whatever she said now was useless. The morning sun had just set, the air getting a bit chilly. The young couple immediately returned home. Surprisingly, the gifts they brought back were more than the ones they brought. It made Jung Lak Yen feel embarrassed too. On the way, they met the second brother Jung Man Zaykut, along with the eldest brother Jung Ban, who was flying a kite so energetically he was sweating profusely. The couple quickly got off the vehicle to ask how things were. Jung Ban was angry because his younger brother refused to improve. Catching the ungrateful younger brother, he gave him a scolding. Then he pulled Chow Vin aside and said sadly, "You're good. The cabinet you made is beautiful. Even the big cities in the south don't have one as luxurious as yours. Especially that beauty, it's much more comfortable than the usual spring-loaded beauty. Your eldest brother also wants to make one. Think about it, it must cost a lot, right? Money is a small matter, the problem is that I don't have free time now. These days, quite a few people have placed orders with you. Starting price 800 TE, including materials. You can't refuse an 800 TE order." Jung Ban, the strong man, was silent for a moment then sobered up and said, "I'll take your second brother home first. We'll talk later." "Yes, that's fine. Eldest brother, you two go carefully." The couple returned home. Hong Qunong and those who had been helping for the past 2 days had opened 2 tables of banquet and were eating. After this meal, the wedding affairs are completely over. Everyone called the couple to eat together. Chow Vin didn't refuse. He pulled his wife to go around offering toasts. Downing the glass in one go, he was truly extremely grateful. Especially for the third sister and her husband. Around 4 o'clock, everyone had eaten and drunk their fill. Taking some leftovers and wedding candy, each went home. Mok Tu Hoa left behind plenty of good things. Each item was set aside for Jung Lak Yen. To let the two have a prosperous Lunar New Year, Hong Kwang called Chow Vin into the main house. Together with him, they went over every expense and wedding gift money from the past 2 days. And it turned out, gift money these days wasn't much, just 3 to 5 TE, plus 2 consecutive wedding banquets. So in the end, they still ended up at a loss. Hong Kwang's ledger for Chow Vin was perfectly balanced. This was truly amazing. Chow Vin then laughed. Brother, Dad, you and third sister want to help me, I understand. But there's no need for this kind of help. So just tell me straight up how much money it is. I'll pay it back slowly. Hong Kwang insisted, there's no help at all. It's really just enough. Chow Vien held the ledger working. He stood up, anyway it couldn't be helped. Then I'll check each expense one by one. The actual expense ledger is here. Chow Vien opened it to look. Loss of over 120 TE. No problem. Plus the 650 TE that the 4 older sisters had added earlier. Added together, total debt over 770 TE. Still no problem. Thank you, Brother Hong Kwang. Chow Vien stood up to find some gifts for third sister to take home. Mok Tu Hoa paced back and forth, reluctantly accepted after a while. Then, preparing to see off third sister and her husband. Chow Vien at this moment discovered. In the yard there was still a tall person. Busy dismantling the outdoor earthen stove. Ma Min Kwan, with his tattoo, only gave a dark smile. Look again, knew he was extremely simple and honest. Hong Kwang also remembered, this kid works very hard. Familiar face Chow Vien, stop laughing. This is the disciple that, in the past life, he only accepted 3 years later. How could he not be familiar? It's just this life. The old man now appeared earlier. So he called Ma Min Kwan over. Asked bluntly, speak up. What business do you have? Chow Vien said no business. Just wanting to lend a hand. I am very hard-working. If you don't speak now, don't ever speak of it later. Don't. Chow Vien. I want to take you as my master, learn carpentry from you. Chow Vien was extremely surprised. Ma Min Kwan himself was moved, anxious. I accept you. Ma Min Kwan couldn't believe his own ears. Seeing others become disciples, they offer tea kowtow. Nothing is missing. Coming to his own master, he only agreed with one sentence. But my mother-in-law is not so straightforward as to let it slide for days. Master, I'm going back to prepare the apprenticeship ceremony right now. There's no need for those vulgar formalities, absolutely not. Well, I said it myself, the ceremony can't be skipped. Watching the back of my mother-in-law as she hurried away, I couldn't help but widen my eyes and open my mouth. This kid is much older than Gao Di. While Wu Suhua was still thinking, Gao Yuan couldn't help but speak. He's 5 years older than you. And you still accepted him? Gao Di accepting him is no problem, Wu Suhua explained. By the lineage of my father, he is indeed 1 generation below Gao Di. Calling him Yuan is not wrong. If calling him Yuan is not wrong, then calling him old master is not wrong. Gao Yuan added. Being called that by him, I feel like I've aged instantly. Yang Luoyan couldn't help but laugh out loud. As a result, a single sentence from Gao Yuan made her face fall. Don't forget, if I become the master, you become the mistress. Yang Luoyan refused, punching him, laughing until she had no strength left, seeing off the young couple. Gao Yuan brought a bag of celebratory candies to the neighbor's house, bringing back Big Yellow from the Shin family. This dog, as soon as it smelled the leftover meat in the house, immediately perked up, completely different from its demeanor before being drugged. Looks like this dog has recovered. The sister then tied Big Yellow at the door, and gave him a bone to gnaw on. Gao Yuan started cleaning inside and out. Not only did he have to dismantle the earthen stove that his mother-in-law hadn't finished tearing down, but he also had to move the new furniture piled up in the main room and the western hall, the outer room, and arrange everything. In passing, replacing the old furniture that had been there for a long time. But when moving the furniture, he was a bit short on strength. He called Yang Luoyan to give him a hand. As a result, when she lifted it, it was clear she was still somewhat uncomfortable. She just didn't say anything, gritting her teeth and bearing it. But Gao Yuan completely blamed himself. All because of that pressing last night. Looks like I went too hard at it. At that moment, his mother-in-law had already returned, with a face full of makeup. She said apprenticeship must be on an auspicious day. Must be well prepared. Then why are you back here? I just remembered there's still work unfinished. With his mother-in-law helping out, the cleaning became much more efficient. The main house and the east wing have both been furnished with new interiors. Completely new look. The Panda brand TV is also placed at the head of the bed, cushioned underneath. The antenna has already been plugged in. The Butterfly brand sewing machine is set under the windowsill. Finally, it looks like a proper family home. The house is still the same house. But watching Jung Lak Yen busily coming in and out, Chow Vien suddenly found the village strangely peaceful. It's true that having a house doesn't necessarily mean having a home. It takes people to make a home. By the time they finished working, it was already dark. Jung Lak Yen had already prepared a full table of food. She told her mother to have Quan stay for dinner too. That guy, no matter what, didn't dare. He disappeared in a flash. The couple finished their dinner. Jung Lak Yen cleared the dishes, and in the process poured all the leftovers for Dai Hong. The dog hadn't smelled meat in days. It ate so excitedly it growled between its lips. Yen Vien went out to the east wing with various drill bits and umbrellas. All the drill bits were still in their boxes, untouched. The combination bookshelf unit, leaning against the gable wall. Even without securing it, it was very sturdy. The golden rosewood armchair was also there, along with the curved back chair, both shoved together in the corner. Nothing stood out. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve already. There's no way this chair can be fixed this year. The main problem is the lack of golden rosewood material. Even just a broken leg would do. While sighing over that, he locked the door again. Yen Veen strolled over to the pig pen in the yard. It had been years since they last raised pigs. The pen was strangely clean. It was stacked full of all kinds of wood scraps. Teak, poplar, wormwood, tongue, locust, all kinds. There were also a few large logs. All of these were from previous years. They came from cutting down leftover trees from the front and backyards. Enough to last a long time. Thinking back to that year when his parents sent him to learn carpentry, they had already prepared for this. Chow Veen was lost in thought. Suddenly, someone hugged him tightly from behind. What spirit is this? Show yourself at once. You're the spirit. Jung Lak Yen turned around and pouted. She looked unhappy. Just listen to Chow Veen's explanation. Do you know? In a few years, enchantress will become a compliment. Ordinary women aren't even qualified to be called enchantresses. Duong Lak Yen immediately brightened with a smile. All the housework is done. Let's go inside. Chow Veen nodded. Time to continue checking the mattress quality, huh? I meant go inside to watch TV. How could TV be as beautiful as you? Stop joking. My mom told me to sleep carefully. Don't fall into a deep sleep too early. Afraid thieves will come for the wedding money. Probably. Then no need to worry anymore. I've already handed the wedding money over to Uncle Ba. Besides, we still owe Uncle Ba 120 TE. Thanks for handing over the 150 TE from my sisters. Then we'll pay off all the money to the sisters. Even that 1000 TE betrothal gift. Besides that betrothal gift money, I still have over 100 TE of my own. So there's no need for Chow Veen to finish speaking and add more. Save it for emergencies. Whatever you say. Duong Lak Yen happily agreed. Holding nothing back from Chow Veen, she immediately felt much lighter. Even walking seemed like dancing. Chow Veen's heart stirred watching her. He came up from behind and lifted his wife by the waist, startling Duong Lak Yen so much she almost let out a little scream. Then she realized that besides the two of them, there was only a big yellow dog in the house. Nothing to be shy about. She pressed herself deeper into Chow Veen's arms, letting him carry her. As they entered the house, the big yellow dog quietly lifted its head from the haystack. It took one look at the two of them, then silently lay back down. Ever since that woman came into the house, its life had been getting worse by the day. Before, at least it had a doghouse that couldn't block the wind. But at least it could block the rain and snow. Now there were two of them. Sky for a roof, ground for a den. This life is unbearable. December 29th. By the 30th, just as dawn was breaking, the couple was still fast asleep. They heard the big yellow dog barking outside. Someone was pounding on the door. Duong Lak Yen jolted awake, hurriedly throwing on clothes and opening the door to see. It's no one else. It's Ma Mingjun, that son of a gun himself. The master's wife even brought 2 fish for the master to eat for the new year. As she spoke, she lifted 2 large red carp. They were strung together with straw in her hand. Mo Yuan, wearing a padded jacket, came out and asked with a smile.